Hi, I'm online, Dean. Hi. Uh, Thank you. My husband just brought me a bunch of flowers that he picked outside. Thank you, Dean. I've got the page all hooked up. Let me see. Here it is. We're live streaming, Dean. Are you seeing that? Let's see. I think you see it, right? Yes. I'm not talking about you, Dean. I'm talking about my audience. This is the live stream. So good morning, everyone. I rushed to get everything going this morning, of course, because I stayed up too late. I wasn't sure that Epidemic Sound was going to allow me to use their music. I thought I was just going to have to start. I had to check at the last minute, and they're still letting me use my music today. Let me refresh just to make sure, because I just used their music. But, if I use it in the same day that they say it's okay, it's fine. But yeah, you can get in trouble, get copyright strikes if you don't have permission. I just don't have the money to keep my Epidemic Sound subscription going. So I don't have an intro today, and I'm going to have to change. I was editing a video, and with the Epidemic Sound, I guess if they don't cut me off today, I'll be able to finish that and put it up. But if they cut me off when I post it, before I post it, I'll have to change. I mean, I can get in trouble. So that's the holdup. I just stayed up too late last night. I have a new YouTube channel. Let me see if I can bring it up for you. Where is it? Yeah, here it is. Let me just see what it looks like. I have a couple new YouTube channels, but here it is. All right, let me just reshare. Let me stop sharing and then reshare. Here we go. This is my new Claire Speaks Live Shorts. And hey, pre-order my He Did Not Do It. It was the #1 new release in Buddhist history at Amazon. But this is the second edition. Because there's been a lot of updates in a year. A lot happens in a year. But anyway, this is my newest video right here. I'm just going to play it really quick.
Release
Wait.
the Epstein files now. Release the Epstein files now. Release the Epstein files.
All right. Where am I? I have to get back here. I gotta find. I'm not really familiar here. Okay, here we go. I know I'm silly, but I don't know what else to do. When you are top secret, you just try anything and everything to get declassified. I mean, what can I say? Today is the big day. Today is July 23rd, 2025. It has been 50 years. I guess I have to make another like short or something. I don't think I can put out a long form video before Epidemic Sound cuts me off. I'll just have to use YouTube sounds. There's lots of great sounds at YouTube. I don't know. I just feel like I like to have as many options as possible. But yeah, this is the big day. I've been classified 50 years ago. 50 years today. I was a 9-year-old girl living in Old Greenwich, Connecticut, minding my own business, home alone, when Mr. Larry Shaw, the doctor of delusion, came to my door with a family friend and forced me to sign a number of documents, like, I don't know, I'm estimating maybe 5 or so. I could be wrong. It could have been more. It could have been up to 10, but I remember it like around 5 or so, maybe 7. And he piled them on, he fanned them out so that just the signature, the place to sign was visible. And he's like, don't look. And I'm like, don't worry, I won't look. Okay. I thought he was like trying to help me. I thought he had a big surprise in store for me. He had already ABUSED'd me, but I just wanted to believe the best. I'm a 9-year-old girl. I have a lot of people around me supporting me and helping me, but and I wanted to believe he was helping me too. Dean, I know, but that's back in 1975, Dean. You weren't around then. Okay, you weren't in my life at that time, Dean. I'm talking about then, not here now. Yes, Dean he's by my side. He's the best friend I've ever had. And I will never forget that for as long as I shall live. But in 1975, yeah, I just wanted to believe that he was trying to help me. Forgive me for being positive in my thinking. Okay, I'm going to stop the sharing, and I'm going to get, where is the court page? Here it is. Let's get that back up. Oh, ooh, I don't know what, oh, this is just a screenshot. Can you see? Let's see it. Yeah, you can see. All right, yeah, we got to be ready, because it's getting, what time is it? It's 10:45. Quarter of, you guys, 11 o'clock. I am hoping for the best with this hearing. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen. I'm used to nothing happening all the time, but I'm really looking forward to Bryan Kohberger making this worth our while. All of us, I mean, the victims' families, they're really looking for explanations. They're very, everybody's suffering.
Even Brad Pitt.
Dean, what are you talking about Brad Pitt for? He has nothing to do with this.
Yes, he's the one locked up.
Not Brad Pitt.
He killed Brad Pitt.
No, Brad Pitt. No.
He killed him. Huh?
Dean, you mean David Craig?
David Craig.
Oh, I'm sure David will be so flattered that you confused him with Brad Pitt.
Oh.
Dean, Brad Pitt's your brother, Dennis Boyd, okay? 12 years old, age 12, not Bryan Kohberger. That's in another body. That's a different matter altogether. He's actually in another body, okay, as your twin. No, I'm talking, and he's 12 years old. That's why he acts like such an idiot sometimes. I mean, not all 12-year-olds do, but yeah, Brad Pitt, age 12. No, I'm talking about Bryan Kohberger right here. Can you see me do this? I think you can, right? Let me just see. When I do this, you can, okay, are you not, no, it's showing it. Okay. Well, I think you can see my screen. I hope you can. Anyway, yeah, Bryan Kohberger is a disguise. I've talked about this a lot of times. And I didn't know it was a disguise. I just knew whoever did this, when this came out and was all over the news, I knew it was David, my ex-boyfriend, who murdered my brand new husband, Ron Goldman, in 1994. Okay. His partner in crime, and Nicole. And, I had just, it's a long story. It's in my book. And you saw my, you saw my YouTube channel, right? Let me just refresh your memory, because we gotta, it's not quite time yet. Anyway, this is my book right here. I mean, if you want to just type in this bit.ly/the-true-killers, or you can go to my channel, and I have a link in here. Wait, it's not the link. Yeah, so that's what comes up, huh? It's just here's the link. My book right there. You could do that one too. I guess it's a little shorter. bit.ly//44WIC, capital C, capital O, U, little u. Any of those links will work. Long story. So let me unshare this and go back to the other page so we don't miss anything. Okay. They're getting it. It's live. It's live. Oh, it's just, there's nothing going on yet. Okay, but it is live right now. So it's a long story, like I said, and you can read about it in my book. But basically, that's OJ didn't do it, and it's a cover up. The detectives called my house in Marina Del Rey. They didn't want it to be anybody else but OJ, and I realized it's a cover up now. I used to think that maybe it was a little bit of incompetence or denial, wanting it to be OJ, like out of denial or wanting to be in the limelight. But it's a real cover up. Detective Lang is really covering it up. Oh, here we go. Let's do this, and I guess I'm hooked up right. I just want to make sure we don't miss anything. Live. I don't know if that affects your vision. Okay, there we go. Court will resume shortly. Okay, very good. Yeah, well, we have it all ready to go now. Okay, and I'll just do this while we're waiting. Yeah, I guess did you have trouble hearing me at the beginning? I have no way of knowing now, but I had my earphones plugged in. So maybe you didn't hear me at the beginning. Well, here I am now, so you can hear me now, and I guess I'll have to just like write a transcript on the screen or something if you couldn't hear me before. Anyway, I hope you're all okay. This is 50 years, top secret for 50 years here. In 1994, my my FBI special agent told me, "Oh, everybody needs 20 years to heal." The FBI and the detectives, the LAPD, they were running separate investigations. Yeah. So the FBI got all the evidence, believe me, and my DNA was found in Nicole's hair. And the unidentified DNA at the crime scene was David's. So, all they had to do was compare that crime scene to Bryan Kohberger's crime scene match. I had thought that I thought that maybe they compared my DNA to Bryan Kohberger's, and I think they did that too. And this is all top secret, and this was all the hush hush and the secrecy and the in the case. I was the tip that helped them find the needle in the haystack. David is David, his true identity. Bryan Kohberger is a disguise. He's supposedly 30 years old at this point. Actually, his true identity is 71 this year. And I mean, it's amazing. I mean, he is all vegan because he doesn't want to get a stroke again. He got a stroke. He suffered a major stroke in 2009, June of 2009. And, that's why he went all vegan. I used to always want to go all vegan when I was going out with him. And he never had any interest in going vegan. But yeah, after that stroke, I know he took severe measures to prevent it. He wants to stay young. He was trying to like relive a life that he never got to live through Bryan, but Bryan is not, he's very different looking. I can see David shining through. He's not the attractive man that David is, but David is 71. So I'd like to see how but he looks young for his age. He always has. I'm thinking he looks around 50-ish underneath that mask. And today I'm really looking forward to him ripping that mask off. That is my dream. He knows that's my dream. I was so flabbergasted when he came forward and pled guilty to all charges. David never gives up. He fights to the bitter end. And that was an amazing breakthrough. And I don't think the Gonsalveses understand what a breakthrough that was. I know they want him to suffer in hell, but he is going to give us the whole story behind the scenes. I'm hoping he allows me to help him write a book because he's a great writer, but I think he is a little dry and scientific. And I think my writing, I can help him put it, he's in a prison cell too. I think I could really bring life to his dry scientific writing. And I'm the perfect person. I'm the perfect, well, I don't know if I would call myself a co-writer, whatever. editor. You know, I'm the perfect person for the job because he needs somebody who really understands him, and I do. I mean, I understand him more than anybody else, and I'm just really looking forward to him taking that mask off today. And I'm just so used to being disappointed, and I'm prepared if nothing happens. I'm prepared to be disappointed just one more time. I am still I guess tomorrow is the first day of freedom technically, so I have to hold on to my hat here and just be patient because the day that marks 50 years is not complete until midnight tonight. And it's Eastern time because I was in Connecticut, old Greenwich, Connecticut, when Larry Shaw, the I want to say master, the doctor of delusion, classified me top secret by mislabeling me, fraudulently, criminally mislabeling me a threat to national security when I was home alone as a 9-year-old in old Greenwich, Connecticut. And it was July 23rd, 1975. Now, I don't know, that's the day I became classified. I don't know if he came, I think he must have come to my house slightly before then because, with the government, it takes time to process everything. But July 23rd is my day. And it's 50 years, most of my life. I am 59 years old, going on 60 in October. And I'm really looking forward to turning 18. That's how it feels. I've never even been allowed to turn 18. I've been walking around like I don't exist. Like I'm not an adult that exists that has full adult rights, for 50 years now. So it's about time I turn 18. Okay. So let's see. Is there anything else on the screen here? Nothing. We're just waiting for them. I want to make sure that the volume, I just want to make sure my volume is up and everything is good. And here's I'm going to another window. Yes. Oh. I guess you can hear that, right? All right. Where am I? I'm trying to find my window here. Okay, here I am. What do you think is going to happen? I don't know. I know there's a couple of you around here, and thank you for watching. Do you have any ideas what's going to happen? Let me see if I need to, it's been a while since here's the chat. Never miss a comment. Click on chat message to display it on screen. Okay. Nobody's said anything. Let me just write a little comment. Welcome to the stream. What do you think is going to happen in court today? You see that? Yay! I just chatted in my chat. Oh, okay. What time is it? It is 10:58. Okay, we've got the countdown going. Okay. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. All right. It's about to happen, guys. Let me make sure my sound is good. I just hope that this is good. I think it is. Yeah, it looks like everything's normal. We're set to go. Come on, David. Come on, Brian. We want to see your real face. We want to know your real name.
Brian is dead.
I know. Yeah, I know. David did away with Brian. The man who was born Bryan Kohberger, and he's replacing him because he's some kind of special lineage, and I guess he's getting some money here. I don't know, secret money, and he's getting an opportunity to relive his life because he didn't have the life he dreamed of as himself. So he's going to go with the next best option, reliving it through, I guess Bryan Kohberger is 30 at this point. He was born in 1994 after the murders, it just so happens. And I'm sure he's related to David. I'm sure David's one of his genetic fathers. It's not Michael Kohberger. I know the FBI talked about finding his DNA in the trash in front of the family house, but no. That's the cover story. They couldn't talk about me. I was in the tips. I was the tip that Ann Teller was all upset about. Remember, there was a tip. She found out about an alternative suspect in the tips, and she had to follow through, and she needed much more time to do that. Remember that whole thing before they got into the plea deal? I was the tip. She finally found my tip. And yeah, I had a lot of tips in there, and it was pretty complicated. And yeah, she had a lot of research to do. Yeah, I was talking about David because I had no idea he was wearing a disguise. And I know the Moscow PD was really concerned that when they got Bryan, they were really concerned that I wouldn't know that it is David. I had just he had just been in Atlanta and was wearing a disguise, an African American man disguise when he killed this elderly woman in Atlanta right before they got named Bryan Kohberger. And I pointed this out to them and said that he wears disguises. And that's when they got him. I mean, they knew it and they were worried that I wouldn't know it, but I knew it. As soon as I took one look at him, I could see it was David. I mean, yeah, I not everybody who knows David could see that. You have to know David well, I guess. Maybe have the eyes that I have. I don't know. The perception I have. But I know David anywhere. And I'm really looking forward to him helping all of us understand what happened here, telling his story for the Gonzaleses, for everybody, for the world, everyone, and taking off that mask. I always think about how long his beautiful blonde hair is underneath that mask. I mean, I'm sure they cut his hair, right? I mean, he has the cooperation of the government. Believe me, I know Ann Taylor knew he had a security clearance, and that's why she's all smiley, like, we're going to win this thing. Yes, we are. Yeah, because she was representing a CIA operative, and she just thought she had this in the bag until she stumbled upon my tip. Yeah. Time's up. That's the situation. Time's up. And David is a very important person in the Lotus Sutra. We're Nichiren Buddhists, and I'm the Dragon Girl, Dragon King's daughter. That's me, the star of the Lotus Sutra. And he's Devadatta. And I know he's proud of this. And, the whole thing about the Lotus Sutra, the key thing that the Lotus Sutra teaches is that even devils and even children and even women, females, can become enlightened. Okay, I'm the female. I was a child, and David is a devil. And yet, even we can become enlightened. And I know the Gonsalveses don't think that because Christians kind of make it really black and white. Oh, you commit evil, you go to hell and perish and in the fiery flames of hell, right? No chances. No, people, everybody, can create bad karma. Yeah, David is very ill. And he's gotten away with this for so many years. His career started in the early 70s as the Zodiac copycat killer. My father, Dennis Wayne Elliott, was the Zodiac killer, and he died in anonymity. And nobody knew who he was. And to the great relief of his wife, he had another family. He had 3 kids with his second wife, and my brothers and sibling. And yeah, she's very relieved that nobody knows who he is. But that's not. Oh, here we are.
Video come to order. Honorable Judge Hipler presiding.
Be seated. Thank you.
Take it off. Look, he's wearing The jumpsuit, yes, I know the judge.
Need 5 minutes?
Come on, take it off, take it off. Is he making arrangements with Ann Taylor to do so? How are we going to take this mask off? How are we going to take it off? Okay, where do I stand? Okay, do you think that's what they're talking about there? He's like talking to Ann Taylor. Okay, should I stand at this angle? Okay, what's the most dramatic angle? Wouldn't that be great? Why did they turn themselves off? Because they're like trying to get me to talk, right? This is entertainment that is going to go viral, right? Okay, Claire talking about him taking off the mask. Okay, I wonder why they turned off the camera. Ooh, what's going on? Secret. Ooh, there's some secrets going on in that courtroom, right? Something's happening. Are they like getting him all prepared? When they turn on the cameras again, is he going to be David Craig? God, wouldn't that be great? Wouldn't that be exciting, Dean? Why did they cut us off? Let me make sure that everything is, it says live. I just want to make sure. I'm going to refresh. Yes, it's live. Okay. Oh, come on, David. Come on, cameras. Come on. We want to see this. This is going to be like a historic moment. I don't know. I could be full of it, but this would be, if this happens, it would be the most historic moment in television history. It would be the moment of the new century, of the 21st century, of all centuries. Come on. And David has a lot of stories to tell. It's not just the Idaho fort. There are a lot of, Cade and
Are we ready?
a lot of people. Okay.
All right, thank you.
Now he's still Bryan. Okay.
All right, this is CR 01243165, State of Idaho versus Bryan Kohberger. Defendant is present in custody with counsel, Ms. Taylor, Ms. Massoth, Ms. Barlow. The state is represented by Mr. Thompson, Ms. Jennings, Mr. Hurwitz, Mr. Nye, and Ms. Allen. This is the time set for sentencing in this case. The defendant previously entered a plea of guilty to 4 counts of first-degree murder and 1 count of felony burglary. In exchange, the parties stipulated to recommend a sentence consisting of, on burglary, 10 years fixed, on each of the 4 counts of first-degree murder, life fixed. The parties waived pre-sentence investigation. To my understanding, neither party submitted a sentencing memorandum or other materials for the court. Court is familiar with the file and the evidence submitted previously by the parties as it has reviewed them throughout the case and in anticipation of trial. Is there any legal cause why sentence should not be imposed at this time?
No, Your Honor.
Does the state, before impact statements and arguments, wish to present evidence today?
Your Honor, the state does not intend to present evidence in a documentary sense. We have provided the court through the clerk with photographs that we would like to use during the course of our sentencing argument.
Sure. All right.
Thank you.
But no testimony other than impact statements?
That's correct, Your Honor.
All right. So with that, let's start with then impact statements.
Ms. Jennings will be introducing the
And my understanding, just so I'm clear, I indicated through the trial court administrator that we needed to see if any of the victims wish to have the camera not running and audio only. And my understanding is all of them indicated they are fine with the video. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor, that's correct.
All right, very well. Go ahead, Ms. Jennings.
Your Honor, the first, and we're taking these in the order, victim impact statements in the order that the charges were listed in the indictment. The first charge being burglary. So we will have Bethany Funka's statement, and she has asked that her friend Emily Allant read that statement.
All right, any objection to that? All right, very well.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'll be speaking on behalf of Bethany, and so, yeah, here it reads. My name is Bethany Funk, and I was roommates with Maddie, Kaylee, Xana, and Ethan. I not only lost some of my best friends, but I also lost a sister. Never in a million years would I have thought that something like this would have happened to my closest friends. I thought that we were going to wake up and go upstairs, see them and tell them how they had scared us and that they were going to tease us about how we are constantly scaredy cats. I make jokes about it as we would go to Taco Bell like always. But sadly, that is not what happened and what turned out to be my worst nightmare. When I first woke up that morning, I had no idea what happened. I woke up around 7 with a terrible toothache, so I called my dad, who is a dentist, and he asked what I should do. He told me to take Advil, so I did, and I went back to sleep. I was still out of it and still didn't know what happened. If I had known, I of course would have called 911 right away. I still carry so much regret and guilt for not knowing what had happened and not calling right away, even though I understand it wouldn't have changed anything, not even if the paramedics had been right outside the door. I was so frantic that morning and scared to death, not knowing what had happened. And when I made the 911 call, I couldn't even get out the words. And from then on, I don't remember a thing. It was like my brain wiped that whole memory. That was the worst day of my life. And I know it always will be. While I was still in shock, trying to process the fact that my friends were truly gone, I had been attacked by the public. I was grieving, numb, and unsure of what had happened was even real. And at the same time, I was getting flooded with death threats and hateful messages from people who did not know me at all or know the dynamic of our friendship. Social media made it so much worse, and strangers made up stories to entertain themselves. The media harassed not just me, but also my family. People showed up at our house. They called my phone, my parents' phones, other family members' phones, and we were chased while I was still trying to survive emotionally and grieve the loss of my friends. I hated and still hate that they are gone, but for some reason, I am still here and I got to live. I still think about this every day. Why me? Why did I get to live and not them? For the longest time, I could not even look at their families without feeling sick with guilt. I did not know what to say or what to do. I was terrified that my presence just made their pain worse, and I was still here when their kid, their siblings and their friends, their loved ones should have been here instead. After everything happened, I was afraid to go into my own backyard or alone in my house. I was scared that the person who did this would come for me next. I was always scared that the media would try to catch me at any moment of any day, even when I was just walking around my house. I made my parents close all the blinds during the day so no one could see me even in the slightest chance. I barely left the house, and when I did, I made sure I was never alone. I slept in my parents' room for almost a year. I made them double lock every door, set an alarm, and still check everywhere in the room just in case someone was hiding. And I still check my room every night before, and I double lock it. I have not slept through a single night since this happened. I constantly wake up in panics, terrified. Someone is breaking in, or someone is here to hurt me, or I'm about to lose someone else that I love. The fear never really leaves. For a long time, I could barely get out of bed, but one day I realized I have to live for them. They did not get the chance to keep living, but I do, and I will not take that for granted. So now every day I remind myself to live for them, and everything I do it with them in mind. I am still scared to go out in public, but I force myself to do things because I know that they would want me to keep living my life to the fullest. I am beyond blessed to still be here, and I refuse to take that for granted when they did not get a chance. Our house was not just a house, it was a home. It was where we laughed till we couldn't breathe, make meals, did crafts, binge watch reality shows, played games, and spent lazy days on the couch. It was movie nights, wine nights, morning debriefs, pranks, hot chocolate, cookies, and warmth. I would cherish those memories forever, and I will not let what happened erase how special our home was or how much those memories meant to me. Now I would like to share some bits and pieces of who they were as people and some of the memories that we shared. One of my favorite memories was Halloween, and we all went to Sigma Chi. But instead of partying, we just sat in an apartment, talking and laughing all night long. I do not think I've ever laughed that hard in my life. We did not care about the party, we were just happy to be with each other. Xana was 1 in a million. She was the life of the party. But she was also the kindest and funniest person I knew. Everyone loved her because she made everyone feel so loved. She was just someone you always wanted to be around, no matter the circumstance. One of my favorite days with Xana was when she laid on the couch, when we laid on the couch together all day watching movies and snacking. Or when she, Maddie, and I would go and get margaritas, chips, and salsa. She would also light up a room with her presence alone. Kaylee had the most beautiful, radiant smile. And she was so kind, but also one of the funniest people I've ever known. She loved playing little pranks. And she always had us laughing so hard that we could not breathe. She was so full of energy and life. I really believed that she could have ruled the world if she wanted to, and she would have been America's sweetheart. Ethan was the sweetest, most genuine guy. He was always smiling and always making other people smile too. Ethan was the kind of person you wanted around. He was so kind and easy to talk to, and just so fun. And the way he cared for Xana was truly something to admire. And really was proof that storybook love and true romances really do exist. It was not only obvious to me, but everyone that was around Ethan and Xana that they were absolute soulmates. Maddie was not only one of my best friends, but she was the older sister I would have always wanted. There was no one I looked up to or admired more than Maddie. She was truly a ray of sunshine, and everyone was drawn to her. She was so kind, loving, funny, fun, and passionate. She had the sweetest soul and wanted nothing but the best for everyone, and to love and show love to everyone. She took me under her wing and always made me feel so safe and included, and above all, loved and valued. She never failed to make me laugh or put a smile on my face. Still to this day, I am beyond grateful that she chose me to be her sorority little, and I thank God every day that I not only got to know her, but had her as one of my best friends. Honestly, I cannot pinpoint one favorite memory with Maddie because I have so many, and this would be a very long read if I did. But if some little memories with her that I cherish is when the two of us made a nice dinner and split some wine, or when we would binge watch Jersey Shore or Summer House. When we came up with a whole dance routine on Halloween and danced and sang all night, like no one was watching. All the late night walks home from going out, and just little shopping trips and so much more. I am beyond blessed that I had the chance to know each and every one of them. They changed my life in ways I would have never put into words. I hope that they are remembered for who they are, not what happened to them, because who they are were so beautiful, and they deserve to be remembered in the highest way. My heart breaks every time I go to text one of them or how badly I wish I could see and hang out with them. And then I remember I cannot. I will never be able to again. But I still talk to them in my prayers every single night, and I always will. I wish more than anything I could hug them one last time And I wish I could tell them how much I love them. And even though I cannot, I still tell them every night. I will keep living for them as long as I am lucky enough to still be here. And they were all truly one of a kind, and they will be in our hearts forever and always.
Thank you, and please convey to Bethany my appreciation for her courage, and I hope that she heals.
Next is Dylan Mortensen. We're asking for some accommodations for Ms. Mortensen and that she be allowed to sit in my seat.
Sure. Dylan, just take your time, all right?
Thank you, Your Honor. What happened that night changed everything. Because of him, 4 beautiful, genuine, compassionate people were taken from this world for no reason. He didn't just take their lives. He took the light they carried into every room. He took away how they made everyone feel safe, loved, and full of joy. He took away the ability for me to tell them that I love them and that I'm so proud of them. He took away who they were becoming and the futures they were going to have. He took away birthdays, graduations, celebrations, and all the memories that we were supposed to make. All of it is gone. And all the people who loved them are just left to carry that weight forever. He didn't just take them from the world. He took them from me, my friends, my people who felt like my home, the people I looked up to and adored more than anyone. He took away my ability to trust the world around me. What he did shattered me in places I didn't know could break. I was barely 19 when he did this. We had just celebrated my birthday at the end of September. I should have been figuring out who I was. I should have been having the college experience and starting to establish my future. Instead, I was forced to learn how to survive the unimaginable. I couldn't be alone. I had to sleep in my mom's bed because I was too terrified to close my eyes. Terrified that if I blinked, someone might be there. I made escape plans everywhere I went. If something happens, how do I get out? What can I use to defend myself? Who can help? And then there are the panic attacks. The kind that slam into me like a tsunami out of nowhere. I can't breathe. I can't think. I can't stop shaking. All I can do is scream because the emotional pain and the grief is too much to handle. My chest feels like it's caving in. Sometimes I drop to the floor with my heart racing, convinced something is very wrong. It's far beyond anxiety. It's my body reliving everything over and over again. My nervous system never got the message that it is over, and it won't let me forget what he did to them. People call me strong. They say I'm a survivor, but they don't see what my new reality looks like. They don't see the panic attacks, the hypervigilance, the exhaustion, the way I scan every room I enter, the way I flinch at sudden sounds. They don't know how heavy it is to carry so much pain and still be expected to keep going, and that's because of him. He stole parts of me I may never get back. He took the version of me who didn't constantly ask, what if it happens again? What if next time I don't survive? He may have shattered parts of me, but I'm still putting myself back together. Piece by piece, I'm learning how to live in this new version of life. It is not easy. It hurts, but I'm still trying. Still trying, and I'm not trying just for me. I'm trying for them, my friends. About a year ago, I had a dream about them. I got to say goodbye. I told them I won't be able to see you again, so I need to tell you goodbye. They all kept asking why, and all I could say was, I can't tell you, but I have to. When I woke up, I felt shattered and heartbroken, but also strangely grateful. Like maybe in some way that dream gave us the goodbye we never got. Still, no dream can replace them, and no goodbye will ever feel finished. He is a hollow vessel, something less than human. A body without empathy, without remorse. He chose destruction. He chose evil. He feels nothing. He tried to take everything from me. My friends, my safety, my identity, my future. He took their lives, but I will continue trying to be like them, to make them proud. Living is how I honor them. Speaking today is to help me find some sort of justice for them. And I will never let him take that from me. He may have taken so much from me, but he will never get to take my voice. He will never take the memories I had with them. He will never erase the love we shared, the laughs we had, or the way they made me feel seen and whole. Those things are mine. They are sacred, and he will never touch them. I get to feel sadness. I get to feel rage. I get to feel joy even when it's hard. I get to feel love even when it hurts. I get to live. And while I will still live with this pain, at least I get to live my life. He will stay here, empty, forgotten, and powerless.
Dylan, thank you so much for your courage. I appreciate it.
Next, we have members from the Madison Mogan family. First would be Scott Laramie, Madison Mogan's stepfather. Standing by him is Karen Laramie, Madison's mother.
Thank you, Your Honor. My name is Scott Laramie. I'm Maddie Mogan's stepfather and the husband of Maddie's mother, Karen Laramie. I will read this victim impact statement on behalf of Karen and myself. Maddie was our gift of life, our purpose, and our hope. Maddie quickly became Karen's joy, identity, and purpose in life. I joined Maddie's life when she was 2.5 years old. The experience transformed me into a life of joy, love, and family. Maddie was bright, beautiful, kind, empathic. She listened carefully to others and was observant, seeing and caring about the hearts and the minds of all she encountered. She loved music and music festivals. She had a wonderful sense of humor. She excelled in school. She was an easy child to raise, almost never requiring discipline, and almost always giving us parental joy. One time Karen remembers disciplining Maddie as a little girl. Maddie responded, "You broke my heart," which of course melted ours. She had a keen wit, even at that young age. As she transitioned into teenage years, she prioritized us and extended family over many of the distractions that capture teenagers. She showered us with her presence and love at family events, barbecues, picnics, birthdays, holidays, and others. She spent countless hours with her papa, her Uncle David, Aunt Nadine, and her other close family and friends. This world was a better place with her in it. As she reached adulthood, Maddie applied her studies to be a marketing professional, entering into an internship at Payne West, and started planning her professional future. As with all things, she involved Karen and myself in the joy of her journey. As she transitioned into womanhood, Karen and I continued to be astounded at this wonderful and accomplished person we had created. All parents dream of their children accomplishing more than them. We realized this dream, all we had not become, she was becoming. Karen and I are ordinary people, but we lived extraordinary lives because we had Maddie. Maddie was taken senselessly and brutally in a sudden act of evil. She was taken along with the young, promising, and bright lives of Kaylee, Xana, and Ethan. First, we felt disbelief. Next, we felt disorientation. Then we felt grief overcome us. Our grief is compounded even more for the Goncalves, Kernodle, and Chapin families. We speak of hope and healing, and we do have hope and some healing. But the vast emotional wound will never fully heal. Since Maddie's loss, there's emptiness in our hearts, home, and family, an endless void. After losing her mother in a car crash, Karen took years to grieve and recover. The feeling that her life with Maddie and they was perfect helped her to start to heal. Now, this is no longer perfect. After Maddie's loss, Karen felt like she was spinning out, emotionally collapsing into anxiety and depression. She sometimes asks, "How am I supposed to go on when I've lost my favorite person in the world?" I felt the same, and we continue to struggle. The loss of Maddie has impacted so many beyond our family. Her second family is her sorority sisters who grieve alongside us. She has so many close friends who suffer from her loss. We will continue to be. Her loss will continue to be felt by the Vandal community, including Vandal Solutions on campus, where she volunteered her time for others. It helps us to know Maddie is in heaven now, freed from the trials of this earth. We, however, continue to live on without the grace and support of her presence. We will grow old without our only child, our bright, beautiful friend and daughter. In the end, there are no words that can accurately capture the devastation of losing Maddie. We will endure, and we will go on. For Maddie, we will not let our grief consume us. For Maddie, we will continue to love and care for our family and friends, including the families of Kaylee, Santa, and Ethan. We will remain united with them. We can only hope that others out there suffering similar losses can look to us and see that we can overcome hatred, darkness, and evil. We know the law allows us to comment on the defendant and his sentence. As for his sentence, we support the plea agreement. Society needs to be protected against this evil. As for the defendant, we will not waste the words, nor will we fall into hatred and bitterness. Evil has many faces, and we now know this, but evil does not deserve our time and attention. We are done being victims. We are taking back our lives. We will turn our time, talents, and attention to hope, healing, and helping others, and to the future. We invite all those who have suffered with us on this to join us in our journey. We can make this world a better place. We can move on from tragedy. Adversity will visit us, evil will visit us, but we will overcome. We can and will endure. Karen and I express our gratitude to Your Honor and to the prosecution team for allowing us the opportunity to make this statement. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your courage, and I am so sorry for your loss. God bless
Your
you.
Honor.
Your Honor, this is Leander James. He's the attorney for the Mogan family and victim advocate. He'll be reading a statement for Karen Laramie.
May it please the court, counsel. My name is Leander James. I am the pro bono counsel for Karen and Scott Laramie. Karen has asked me to read this statement into the record. I thank my husband, Scott, for his statement, his courage, and his unending love and support during this dark time. While words are inadequate to capture the impact of this horrific crime on our family, he expressed it as best anyone could. For Maddie's sake, I will add my supplement statement that incorporates additional impact in the context of my extended family. I am grateful to Maddie's great uncle, Bryan Kohberger, for assisting me with the difficult task of putting our pain into words. For me and my extended family, Maddie was our hope and our light. Her beauty, both outside and in, shone its light upon everyone with whom she came in contact. Her beauty, she carried that hope and light into the future for our entire family. We have memories of our Maddie and grief and pain at her being taken from our presence. Any one of us would have given our own light to have been outshone by hers. We now look to our Creator to know that her light continues where we look to see her in His presence. Those who commit evil for their own twisted gains and purposes truly defile the efforts and sacrifices of mothers, fathers, families, teachers, clergy, public servants, service members, and all those who commit themselves to the greater good, freedoms, and the future light of our nation. Condemnation falls heavily upon those who squandered the lives of our future hopes and dreams. Some may offer forgiveness for what the defendant has done. However, we cannot at this time, or perhaps ever, nor will we ask for mercy for what he has done. His acts are too heinous, the agony and grief he has caused too great. But we will waste no further words or thoughts on him. For Maddie's sake, we will move on. We will do our best to carry Maddie's light into this world and make it a better place. I thank the court and the prosecution for allowing me the opportunity to make my statement, and I thank all those who have and will support my family and the families of Kaylee, Xana, and Ethan. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mrs. Laramie. Appreciate it.
Next is Ben Mogan, the father of Maddie Mogan.
Yes, of course.
Actually, Your Honor, it'll be Kim Cheeley, the grandmother of Maddie Mogan.
My name is Kim Cheeley. I was Maddie Mogan's paternal grandmother, as Ben Mogan, her father, is my son. I'm here today with my sister Lori Cheeley, Maddie's great aunt, and my son Ben Mogan, and my daughter-in-law Corey Hatrock. I'd like to begin by thanking a number of people involved in bringing this case to closure. In my daughter's words, the plea deal the prosecution team reached this month is one that punishes the perpetrator of this horrendous crime, protects the public from further harm, and allows all of us who knew and loved these kids the time to grieve without the anxiety of the long and gruesome trial, the years of appeals, and potential for mistrials along the way. My family and I are so grateful to Bill Thompson and his prosecution team for their dedication and painstaking work that forced the perpetrator to admit his guilt. We want to thank the Idaho State Police, the Moscow Police Department, the FBI, and Judge Hipler. We'd also like to thank the University of Idaho officials who have treated the families of the victims with such dignity and kindness, and who have honored the 4 victims beautifully. Maddie was my first grandchild, so when she was born, all her grandparents had the distinct pleasure of deciding what we'd like to be called. I chose Nana, pretty original. But when Maddie was about 1.5 years old, her papa, Ben's dad, and I were planning to visit the new little family in Oregon. Maddie didn't have an extensive vocabulary at the time, but for some unknown reason, she called bananas ba-deedle-deedles. When Karen and Ben told her Nana was coming to visit, she figured, I say deedle-deedle for that word. So I became deedle-deedle, shortened to Deedle when she was about 6 or 7, and I was Deedle all her life. I don't think her stepdad, Scotty, ever knew my given name was Kim. Maddie's and my birthdays were 1 day apart, and a couple years before she was killed, she gave me this necklace with Deedle and Maddie engraved on it, and I added an angel wing, and it's one of my treasured possessions. I also got an angel wing tattoo, never thought I'd see the day, but along with many members of our family, replicating the one that Maddie and her sorority sisters had. I wanted mine where I could see and touch it often. From preschool through grade school, I stopped teaching piano lessons early on Wednesdays and picked Maddie up for bubble baths, brownies, and books. It was our special time together, and she went home those nights in her jammies with a pan of warm brownies for her family. Although Karen and Scotty raised Maddie and did such a lovely job of parenting, we Mogans were lucky to have her for holidays and many other family gatherings. We'll always have our treasured memories of Maddie growing up in our big, extended, cooperative family, and I thank Karen and Scotty Laramie for being so generous and open and sharing Maddie with her Mogan side of the family. When the 4 kids were murdered, the foundation fell out of our world. Initially, the fear was truly debilitating. The first 6 weeks were excruciating. Despite the vigils, memorials, candlelight gatherings of students, friends, family, community members. After the arrest, in the past 2.5 years, my family has lived with grief, with the effects of traumatic grief, of which I was blissfully unaware before all of this. I now have a stack of books on grief. I've attended grief classes at hospice. I've tried EMDR, a technique that helps replace disturbing visions with something more comforting. My son Ben, his 2 sisters, Maddie's aunts, and I have all experienced depression and anxiety and sleep disturbance, requiring medical intervention at times. We've all sought counseling off and on. The struggle with media attention was extremely difficult, especially for Ben. No one should live through the violent murder of one's child. Some days it's beyond me how the parents of these kids are still upright. I'm thankful for the strong families and communities that are supporting the survivors. At the time, I could think of only 2 blessings surrounding the horrific murders. One was that Ben was living with my partner Tom and me at the time, and that we could support each other emotionally through it all. Sadly, Tom died a year ago of a rare brain cancer, and he won't be here to see justice served. He was our family's rock, and we all miss him every day. A second blessing is that my mother died of COVID several months before the kids were killed, and she didn't have to live through the horror. It was difficult to identify blessings. So we've all lost our dear child and a future with her. I ache for the loss of the dreams that she and her true love, Jake, held. And my heart goes out to Karen and Scotty and your side of Maddie's family. You've had more than your share of loss. My heart aches for the kids' roommates and the families of the other victims, and also the family of the perpetrator.
He's blinking.
Going forward, we Mogans are choosing to put our energy and focus into honoring Maddie's too short life and sweet spirit by celebrating Maddie May Day, which my 2 daughters established. On May 25th each year, Maddie's birthday, we encourage folks to do random acts of kindness in Maddie's name. In my daughter Katie's words, may we all protect our peace in whatever way possible, unite in community, and focus on joy. Please do an act in kindness in Maddie's honor during this week, so a glimmer of Maddie's light may live on. Thank you.
Thank you, and I appreciate your courage, and bless you and your family.
Thank you.
And now is Ben Mogan, Maddie Mogan's father.
I'm Benjamin Mogan. I'm Maddie's
You okay?
dad. And,
Are you okay?
first, I just want to say thanks to all the people that helped bring this all to a close. I know it's not the resolution that everyone, wanted, but I think that that everyone worked so hard, and we really appreciate all their efforts. It was such a hard thing to go through for everybody. Maddie was my only child that I ever had. She was the only great thing I ever really did, and the only thing I was really ever proud of. And I thought we would have the rest of our lives together to be together and to know each other, and I took for granted the times she was in college, and I thought, oh well, we'll have the rest of our lives to do all the stuff that we're supposed to do, and she was just about done. She actually earned all of her credits for her college degree, and Karen and Scotty and I got to go and get her diploma that she actually earned, and she deserved every bit of that. And but I thought that that was going to be just the beginning of a long life together, and we never got that. Karen and Scotty did such a great job raising her after Karen and I split up, and I'm so thankful for Scotty and the role that he played in her life when I wasn't able to. But we got to spend a lot of great times together, Maddie and I. She was my favorite person to go to a concert with. We got to see some fun shows together, and I told her, if there's ever a show that you want to go to, let me know, and I'll get you tickets for you and your friend, or if we want to go together, we'll make it happen. And my favorite memory with her was when the Mac Miller show sold out here in Spokane, and everyone wanted tickets, no one could get them, and on the last day before the show, they did a radio thing, and I got 4 meet and greet tickets for Maddie and her friends and me to go and see the show, and that was her favorite artist at the time, was Mac Miller, and he's gone now too, and my little cousin Zach drove us all there that night, and he's gone too, tragically, and anyway, the last thing that she ever wrote to me was this Father's Day card, and I'm so glad I still have it. I'm just going to read what she said. It says, "Happy Father's Day. I hope you have the best day. I can't wait till we can hang out again soon. I'll be in Coeur d'Alene, 6:24 to 7:04. Hopefully we can find a time then. I love your birthday card that you sent me, by the way. Maybe we can see a concert sometime soon. I'd love to see the gorge when it's not so smoky out. I hope you're doing well. I'm proud of how far you've come. Thank you for always encouraging me to do my best. Love you lots and lots. Love, Maddie May." She did encourage me to not just to do my best, but to live on. I went through a lot of issues with addiction and with substance abuse, and when I wasn't wanting to live anymore, she was what would keep me from just not caring anymore, and knowing that she was out there and that she was just such a beautiful person kept me alive a lot of rough moments, and I'm so glad that she was able to meet Jake. He was the only one that actually ever got to take her to the gorge. They went and saw Watershed together, and yeah, they had a heck of a time. I'm just glad she got to. That's a really special place for me, and she always wanted to work out there with me in the summer sometime. She never got to, but at least she got to see it once with Jake. He was such a great guy. He is such a great guy. And I really wanted to see what a future with them would have looked like. I'll never be able to replace her. I wrote a bunch of stuff. I just don't know what to say right now. It's that I just miss her so much, and I just love her more than anything. And it shouldn't have happened. And a death sentence is one thing. You know when it's going to happen, and it's going to be all gentle and stuff. But life without parole, with a building full of people that all just want you to not be around anymore, and winking at every morning, not knowing if that's the day they're going to pull your card. I mean, it's not a very nice sentence either. So, I don't know. I just love you, Maddie, and I wish you were still here.
Thank you so much.
Your Honor, next would be members from the Kaylee Gonsalves family. First will be her father, Steve Gonsalves.
Get the security out. Oh. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. What's he doing? Is he over there? Okay. Look at it.
Today, we are here to finish what you started. Today, you've lost control. Today, we are here to prove to the world that you picked the wrong families. The wrong state, the wrong police officers, the wrong community. You tried to break our community apart. You tried to plant fear. You tried to divide us. You failed. Instead, your actions have united everyone in their disgust for you. I just learned from these lead investigators, to their shock, they worked in an investigation and actually worked with Pennsylvania police officers and the federal FBI. You united everyone. Everyone was united after you. None of us are divided. We are united in our disgust and our love for these children. Today you have no name. Because when this all started, we all came together and we said, let's stop even talking about his name and just use initials. So even the media just calls you BK. That's all you are. Looking back when the police officers knocked on my door, told me what happened to my child, told me what happened to Maddie Mae, I don't think he was even out of the driveway before my kids turned around, looked at me and said, what do we do, Dad? I told him, you get to work. You get your ass to work. And we started calling, we started texting, we started emailing. And you know what? Within hours, we had your white car on the camera. We knew from the very beginning we had you. Police officers tell us within minutes they had your DNA, like a calling card. You were that careless, that foolish, that stupid. Master degree, you're a joke, complete joke. But we took this disaster and we did what we could. We put everything online. We took our kids, we took our images, we took everything that they did, their videos, their photos, the girls' pranks, Ethan singing. We put it out there, we shared it with the world. And the world united. And all they ended up, when they talked about this case, is they talked about Kaylee Jade, Maddie Mae, Xana, and Ethan. Everything what these people meant to us, a father, a mother, a brother, a sister, we shared that with our community. Then we shared it with our state. We shared it with the country, and eventually we shared it with the world. The world's watching because of the kids, not because of you. Nobody cares about you. You're not worth the time, the effort to be remembered. In time, you will be nothing but two initials forgotten to the wind. No visitors, nothing more than initials on an otherwise unmarked tombstone. From this moment, we've all started. From this moment, we will forget you. We want to all leave in closing. One last thing. You picked the wrong family, and we're laughing at you on your trip to the pen. That will be today or tomorrow. I'll close with, God bless all the men and women that worked on this case and all the hard work that you guys did. You guys allowed us to grieve and allowed us to get through this. The amount of work that you guys put together and the way that you guys put it together was beautiful. There was hard times to be expected, but thank you all, and God bless.
Thank you.
Your Honor, next is Stephen Gonzalez, Kaylee's brother.
Stephen's actually gonna pass. I'm gonna go.
Okay. Olivia Gonzalez, Kaylee's sister.
Hello, I'd like to start by thanking the court for allowing me the time and opportunity to speak today. My name is Olivia, and I'm the big sister of Kaylee Gonzalez, and I was blessed to love Madison Mogen as a sister too. I'm not here today to speak in grief, I'm here to speak in truth. Because the truth is, my sister Kaylee and her best friend Maddie were not yours to take. They were not yours to study, to stalk, or to silence. They were two pieces of a whole, the perfect yin and yang. They are everything that you could never be. Loved, accepted, vibrant, accomplished, brave, and powerful. Because the truth about Kaylee and Maddie is they would have been kind to you. If you had approached them in their everyday lives, they would have given you directions, thanked you for the compliment, or awkwardly giggled to make your own words less uncomfortable for you. In a world that rejected you, they would have shown mercy. Because the truth is, I'm angry. Every day I'm angry. I'm left shouting at the inside of my own head everything I wish I could say to you. The truth about me is when I heard the news, I didn't cry. I listened for them. I promised them I would, that I would fight for them, that I would show up no matter what it cost me. I swore I'd never let them feel alone. Because you see, I've always been their heavyweight. I've always been the one to fight the battles they didn't feel ready to fight themselves. All it ever took was a call, and they knew I would handle it for them, no matter the time, no matter the cost. They could wave their white flag because they knew I would never back down, not for them, and not even death could change that. Somewhere along the line, I started to think about what I would say to them if I was given just one last chance. If I could gather enough heartbreak or love or sacrifice or whatever it took to get just one message across, what would I say? Throughout this entire process, I've written my feelings down at every moment, my wishes, my love, my denial, my anger. And as one final act of love, I'd planned to read these thoughts, even jarring and discombobulating and not even making sense. Because for me, that was true love. As bare and as naked as it could be, not laced in pretty words or dressed for the occasion, but written through bleary eyes at 2 a.m. with clenched fists, angry at this reality. My true final act of love was to continue on without them, for them. That dream to read aloud my love to them, to bring meaning through pain, was the latest blow in realizing you don't deserve it. And Kaylee and Maddie don't need it. Kaylee and Maddie have always known my love, and they would never ask me to prove it by further victimizing myself to a defendant who has shown no guilt, no remorse, no apprehension. They would say to me, "Why would you give the satisfaction of showing vulnerability now? You promised you would never back down." And for that clarity, I'm thankful. I won't stand here and give you what you want. I won't offer you tears. I won't offer you trembling. Disappointments like you thrive on pain, on fear, and on the illusion of power. And I won't feed your beast. Instead, I will call you what you are: sociopath, psychopath, murderer. I will ask the questions that reverberate violently in my own head, so loudly that I can't think straight most any day. Some of these might be familiar, so sit up straight when I talk to you. How was your life right before you murdered my sisters? Did you prepare for the crime before leaving your apartment? Please detail what you were thinking and feeling at this time. Why did you choose my sisters? Before making your move, did you approach my sisters? Detail what you were thinking and feeling. Before leaving their home, is there anything else you did? How does it feel to know the only thing you failed more miserably at than being a murderer is trying to be a rapper? Did you recently start shaving or manually pulling out your eyebrows? Why November 13th? Did you truly think your Amazon purchase was untraceable because you used a gift card? How do you find it enjoyable to stargaze with such a severe case of visual snow? Where is the murder weapon? The clothes you wore that night? What did you bring into the house with you? What was the second weapon you used on Kaylee? What were Kaylee's last words? Please describe in detail the level of anxiety you must have felt when you heard the Bearcat pull up to your family home on December 30th, 2022. Which do you regret more? Returning to the crime scene 5 hours later, or never, ever going back to Moscow, not even once, after stalking them there for months? If you were really smart, do you think you'd be here right now? What's it like needing this much attention just to feel real? You're terrified of being ordinary, aren't you? Do you feel anything at all? Or are you exactly what you always feared? Nothing. If you're so powerful, then why are you still hiding, defendant? You see, I'm here today as me. But who are you? Let's try to take off your mask and see. You didn't create devastation. You revealed it in yourself. And that darkness you carry, that emptiness, you'll sit with it long after this is over. That is your sentence. And it was written on the wall long before you ever pled guilty. You didn't win. You just exposed yourself as the coward you are. You're a delusional, pathetic, hypochondriac loser who thought you were so much smarter than everybody else. Constantly scolding, turning your nose up to grammar mistakes, nitpicking and criticizing others. You wanted so badly to be different, to be special, to be better, to be deep, to be mysterious. You found yourself thinking you were better than everyone else, and you thought you could figure out the human psyche and see through it, all while tweaked out on heroin. Lurking in the shadows made you feel powerful because no one ever paid you any attention in the light. You thought you were exceptional, all because of a grade on a paper. You thought you were elite because your online IQ test from 2010 told you so. All of that effort just to seem important. It's desperate. There is a name for your condition, though. Your inflated ego just didn't allow you to see it. Wannabe. You act like no one could ever understand your mind, but the truth is you're basic. You're a textbook case of insecurity disguised as control. Your patterns are predictable. Your motives are shallow. You are not profound. You're pathetic. You aren't special or deep, not mysterious or exceptional. Don't ever get it twisted again. No one is scared of you today. No one is intimidated by you. No one is impressed by you. No one thinks that you are important. You orchestrated this like you thought you were God. Now look at you, begging a courtroom for scraps. You spent months preparing, and still all it took was my sister in a sheath. You work so hard to seem dangerous, but real control doesn't have to prove itself. The truth is, the scariest part about you is how painfully average you turned out to be. The truth is, you're as dumb as they come. Stupid, clumsy, slow, sloppy, weak, dirty. Let me be very clear. Don't ever try to convince yourself you mattered just because someone finally said your name out loud. I see through you. You want the truth? Here's the one you'll hate the most. If you hadn't attacked them in their sleep, in the middle of the night, like a pedophile, Kaylee would have kicked your fucking ass. Thank you.
Thank you.
Woo! Just told him. I was watching his reaction.
Next is Christy Gonzalez, Kaylee Gonzalez's mother.
Oh, look, he's going to turn it. He's going to turn it. Oh, I thought he was going to turn it back. It's just we can't see them because he turned it. We can hardly see her as she speaks.
Thank you, Your Honor. I never imagined having to speak to someone so devoid of humanity. For a long time, I didn't think I'd find the words low enough to meet you where you are. But now I realize this isn't about you. It's about what you've done to me, and I need you to hear it. When you murdered my daughter, Kaylee Jade Gonzalez, you didn't just take her life, you shattered others. You attacked what you could never be, and in doing so, you left a trail of devastation far beyond that house. You stole my peace. You've altered my every waking moment, every sleepless night, The way I view the world, people, safety, trust, it's all been changed by your cruelty. I no longer recognize parts of myself. Joy is harder to find. Laughter feels foreign. The world moves forward, but I'm suspended in a place of sorrow and rage. You've taken from me something that can never be restored. The grief sits with me every day, some days quietly, and other days so loud it drowns out everything else. The emotional toll you've inflicted on me is immeasurable. I live with a constant ache, with birthdays that are now memorials, with holidays that feel hollow, with empty chairs that scream louder than words ever could. I am forever changed. But for you, as a person working on a PhD in criminal justice, you really didn't think this one through. You're not that good. In fact, you're not that good at anything. You couldn't secure a job. You couldn't get along with others. You couldn't even get a female to look in your direction. All because you are pathetic. Now you're a joke in this courtroom. I wish I could crown you with a jester hat to complete your orange jumpsuit clown look. A dead killer doesn't kill again. So while I'm disappointed the firing squad won't get to take their shots at you, I'm confident that the men in prison will have their way with you in more ways than one. You will finally get what you wanted, physical touch. Just probably not how you were expecting it. See, you haven't beat the system. You've simply entered a new one, where the rules are cruel and the consequences will never end. You are entering a place where no one will care who you are and no one will ever respect you. You will be forgotten, discarded, used, and erased. You will always be remembered as a loser, an absolute failure. And when those prison doors slam shut behind you, I hope that sound echoes in your heart for the rest of your meaningless days. I hope it reminds you of what we all already know. You're nothing. May you continue to live your life in misery. You are officially the property of the state of Idaho, where your fellow inmates are anxiously awaiting your arrival. But it's okay, because they're there to help you. Hell will be waiting.
Oh.
Quick message from our youngest daughter. Aubrey wanted to say, you may have received A's in high school and college, but you're going to be getting big D's in prison.
Thank you.
I think they're going to be protecting him in prison. He's going to be isolated. He's not going to be in general population. I don't think so.
Do we have more from the Gonzalez family, or are you?
Yes. Next would be Shannon Gray, the Gonzalez family attorney. He'll be reading statements from Kaylee Gonzalez's grandmothers.
Morning, Your Honor. Shannon Gray, the attorney for the Gonzalez family. I actually have 3 statements, one from her aunt and 2 from her grandparents. This is from her aunt, Tammy Butts. You, in the cloak of darkness, made a decision to turn our whole family's world upside down forever. You, in the cloak of darkness, took our Kaylee J. Gonzalez away from us all without hesitation. Never have you shown any remorse or regret. We just get creepy, non-expressive stares as you have your team of women defend you. Kaylee was a strong, kind, fun-loving, caring person, and she will greatly be missed by all her family and friends for the rest of our lives. She had goals in life that you took from her and us. We lose on watching her enjoying her life, working hard and building the future she wanted. She was ready to start that after college life. You, in the cloak of darkness, took it all away. You left us without her future wedding, her future children that she would have added to our family. No more talking to her on the phone, going for a coffee, celebrating holidays. It's all gone. You, in the cloak of darkness, gave each and every one of Kaylee's family members their own lifetime sentence. You and the cloak of darkness also took our Maddie Mae from all of us. She was so genuine, caring, polite. She was part of our family. You came in, harmed our children that were younger women than you in their own beds. You're nothing, you're a coward. It's not right that you have received life. I pray that you meet your end in the cloak of darkness, burn in hell. I have two other statements, Your Honor. This is Linda Lucan's statement. This is Kaylee's grandmother. I really don't know how to address something so inhumane, but I will try. Nothing in the past 2.5 years has made any sense. All I get is you cowardly went into a home at night, filled with what I'm sure you thought was all sleeping girls, and went on a vicious killing spree for no other reason but to appease your demonic urges. You took my granddaughter Kaylee from us, plus 3 other beautiful lives. You took my granddaughter Kaylee, beautiful, sweet-souled, doll-faced Kaylee, who was getting ready to start her amazing life, who had such a bright future, who was loved by so many, who you were so envious of. She had a life you could never have. You are so beyond human. You're definitely a demon from hell. I truly wish your punishment would be the same death you inflicted on our kids. But I think you will meet some new friends in prison who will be there just to help you. Thumbs up. And I have one last statement, Your Honor. This is from Cheryl Gonzalez, Kaylee's other grandmother. John 1:5 says, "Light shines in the darkness, and the darkness overcomes it not." Somewhere in your life, some jealousy, envy, ego, something went dark. It pushed out all light until you became dark and evil. And when you saw my granddaughter and her friends, their light, because they have such a light, you couldn't stand it. Because the darkness in you could not stand the light in them. And so you decided to destroy it. Cowardly, you walked into their rooms in the dark and took their lives, hoping to get rid of your darkness. But you didn't. You failed. Because you know what was once a light shown only to their friends, families, and loved ones is now all over the world. Everyone sees it. Their smile, their beauty, their plans, everything they were and had. And you think you put a close to it, even that, but you didn't. Because they still exist. They are still light. They are still beautiful. You can never take that away. They will always be in the light of all eternity. And you will be in the darkness because you could not overcome it. You failed. I want you to be gone, more than gone. I want you to be cast out. Cast out from my life, from my family, from this earth. I will not allow your hatred to penetrate into my own soul. You did not get that power. You are evil, and in the end, evil is eradicated. You didn't take Kaylee's light, you spread it into the world. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. All right, if the are you moving to a different family now? All right, why don't we take a 10-minute recess, all right?
Okay. Whew. Oh, I just had to get a pair of scissors because I wanted to open up my little drink, my powder for my drink. Wow. I've never been to a sentencing hearing, so I didn't know. I mean, I kind of had an idea, but I guess I knew everybody was going to make a statement. And then it might take a while, and the court even reserved 2 days for this. But yeah, this has been very interesting. It's very interesting to hear everybody else's take. Everybody has their own unique take on everything, don't they? Everybody says things just a little differently, and it's very interesting to hear how everybody perceives this. Yeah, it's very emotional, and I at the beginning I wasn't trying to make light of all of this. That's the way I'm coping. It's just I don't make light of this at all. I'm just, I've led a life of severe trauma, and I see. I mean, I know that I wasn't a family or friend. I wasn't a member of a member of the family, or was a friend of any of these people who were so tragically murdered. But I've obviously had my own loss in my life over many decades. The 59 years that I've been alive, I've been emmed and tortured, and I've lost my whole life. I don't have anything. I didn't have the opportunity that Kaylee, Maddie, Xana, and Ethan had. I didn't have the support and love and wonderful life that they had. And when a person receives that kind of love and support, there's nothing they can't do. And I really think that that's where David was coming from. He never had any of those things either. And it's tragic and horrible. The way he coped with that was by taking away from them what he perceived was taken away from himself. I mean, that's where he's coming from. He never got to have any of those things that would enable him to have reached his full potential. And he saw these people have all the love and attention and support they needed to reach their potential. And so just like he wasn't allowed to reach his full potential, he was going to take away their full potential. I really think that's the perspective that he had. And I'm very sorry that it was something he thought he could act on. And I don't think that it's soothing him at all at this point. I do think in the summer of 2022, he was distraught. He was, and he isn't able to, he has trouble allowing himself to feel emotions, and it just builds up into a rage. And this is what happened as the result. It was his inability to handle, to face and feel his own emotions and resolve them, and so the emotions gathered up into a rage, and the rage resolved it, and that's very sad. But I think that's the best way I can maybe explain it for David. And it doesn't, I don't condone anything that he ever did, but I'm just hoping that people understand that not everybody has that love and support that Kaylee, Manny, Ethan, and Xana had. Xana had probably a tougher life, and she really appreciated, she had maybe more of an appreciation for the joy of life at that time, because she had been through so much. And so she appreciated her life at that time a little more, maybe had more, sounds like she really was so full of joy. because she had broken through and triumphed and was creating a life that she didn't necessarily always have the potential for, right? She didn't really get all the support that she probably needed, right? And I guess we're going to hear from her family shortly. I don't know. Anyway, I just want people to understand, it's David is a human being, and I know it's cathartic and it's therapeutic for the Gonsalveses to trash him and try to do to him what I guess emotionally do to him what he did to their daughters. But he is a human being who failed miserably and was suffering and is suffering miserably. But if Kaylee, Maddie, Ethan, or Xana had ever been through what he went through, they wouldn't have been in a good place. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean they'd become a serial killer. I really do believe that's a psychology. It's a genetic thing. It's genes. There's a serial killer gene for sure. You have to have the right mental makeup to actually do something like that. But even if they didn't become the horrible animal monster that Bryan has, their lives would not have been what they were without all the love and support of their family. Maybe they would have died. Maybe they would have committed suicide. People who don't have love and support from their families, they suffer greatly, and they never become all that they can be. They're nobodies, they're nothings, just exactly how the Gonsalveses told him. That is what he tells himself to begin, that's what he believed. And the nothingness that he felt inside, he created that nothingness outside himself when he did what he did to those kids. It was that nothingness, that feeling of being nothing, that drove him to do this. And I know it helps the Gonsalveses, it helps them to tell him what he is, but he already knows that, and that's why he did what he did. Not that it was the right thing to do. But yeah, I've been through so much of that. I mean, again and again throughout my life, and to see people who have never had a trauma, never experienced trauma like this, experience it for one time and see how it destroys them. I realize how much I've overcome, and they're on TV, but I'm not. Not that. I'm in sorrow with them. It's horrible what has happened, and they deserve this time. But I guess I just wonder when my time is going to come. After all, I've experienced this again and again since I was born, this kind of severe trauma. And I'm nothing. I'm still nothing. People still say I'm nothing. And I guess, there's something. They experienced it one time. I mean, not that anybody should have to go through that ever. And they survived, and they're talking about it, and everybody wants to hear what they have to say. But I've gone through it millions of times, and I'm still here. I'm still breathing. I'm still telling my story to nobody. Nobody cares. And I guess I'm just wondering when I get my time to speak my story. It makes me sad that these people have so much love and support, and they deserve it. But I have nothing. And I asked David to do the right thing, and do what the Gonzaleses don't expect you to do and own up to everything and reveal your true identity. I was flabbergasted again when she said to take your mask off. Who are you? Take your mask off. She obviously the Gonzaleses have read my stuff. I've reached out to their Facebook page and have written them a couple messages, and one recently, but one a couple of years ago. And obviously, they read that one a couple of years ago, and maybe they read. I told them it was my dream to see you take off your mask today, and I couldn't believe she mentioned the mask. Thank you, Olivia. And there were some other things she said, and it was like I know it really hit home with David beneath that mask, you know, it really did. She said some other things that I'm not, did you pull out the hair in your eyebrows? He used to pull out his hair when he was growing up, when he was a young boy. He used to pull out his hair, and his mother would find bald spots, and it was because of all the abuse of his father. His father, Sodomized. Did I spell that right? Him. Tortured him violently. And he pull out his hair. That's so funny. I mean, did I write about that? How did she know? I mean, how did she know to say that? I'm wondering if I wrote about it and she's a really good researcher, huh? She does her research. I must have said something somewhere, and she said, "Did you pull out your the hair of your eyebrows?" That affected him. I know it did. He's really good at doing the poker face thing, isn't he? He was always pretty good at the poker face, but he's more like cardboard now than he was before. And I'm thinking the major stroke he suffered made him a little more like that. He's just a little different. Maybe the way he walks is because of his stroke. It was one side of his face that was the language side, which I guess is that the right side? That was the side his stroke was on. And I met with him at a Starbucks in Brentwood right after he had gotten out of, not that long after he had gotten out of the hospital and had recuperated a little bit. He wouldn't see me until he had recuperated a certain amount. And yeah, there was one side of his face that was drooping. I'm thinking it was the right side. I don't know what the language side is. I think it's the right side. On the creative side, right? Isn't it? I don't think that's on the left side. I could be wrong though. And that side of his body, he had trouble with that leg and everything. It was all different on that side. But that was right after the stroke. And I know he recuperated a lot. He said he was having trouble writing. He had to learn to write again. I mean, not completely, but he just couldn't. He said he had trouble getting words out that he wanted to say after the stroke. But I mean, he recuperated a lot. I spoke to him on the phone in 2014 before I got married. And he was just back to his old game with me on the phone. There was probably some girl standing there that he wanted to make jealous by talking to me. He was acting like he was so happy to talk to me, but he was just trying to make an impression on some girl across the room or somewhere. He was at some event. That's what it was. He was trying to make it look like, he was talking to somebody, really important to him. And he was focused on some other girl, not that other girl that was probably watching him. Yeah. Same old games. That's David. Well, David, I want you to take off your mask, figuratively and literally, today. Please do it. Do it for all of us, for the world, for these suffering families. Yeah, I was really moved by Scott Laramie. I was really moved by him, and I'm really moved by Maddie's family. I really feel like they've done some serious healing I feel like the Gonsalveses, they're still at that level of anger. Anger masks hurt. And, when you're angry, it's because you're hurt inside. And they're not there yet. They're not at the point where they can be vulnerable yet. And I understand everybody goes through trauma differently. But I'm really glad that they're close with the Laramies. And, I am. I don't really have much more to say. I'm just looking forward to, I really wanted this to be the day that my life began. And I mean, I don't know. We still have time, but I'm just so used to being disappointed again and again. And this is a trauma. This is my trauma, my ongoing trauma. I don't know. These families don't understand. It sounds like they were all very loving. They went places, did great things. No, I'm sure there were minor problems, as there is in everybody's life, but they just had a really good life. It sounds like they were allowed to have a good life, and that's really great. But I've never been allowed to have a good life, and I guess I'm just wondering when and if I'm ever going to be allowed to have a life. A life that is worth living. I'm really wondering. Okay, here we go.
Be seated. All right, Ms. Jennings.
Thank you, Your Honor. The next family is the family of Xana Kernodle, and first would be Jasmine Kernodle, Xana's sister.
Thank you to everyone who's been involved in this, and just for all the hard work and dedication you guys have put into this. I also want to thank everyone for the support, and just my family and friends who've been around through this time. I went back and forth on whether to speak today, because the truth is, you don't deserve power over my feelings, my words, or me.
Thank you. In the end, I realized this moment isn't about you. It's about justice for Xana, Ethan, Kaylee, and Maddie. It's about honoring the beautiful people they were and still are in God's eyes. On November 13th, 2022, a piece of my heart was ripped away. There's no way to ever fully describe the weight of losing my sister, my best friend. No sentence or punishment will ever come close to the justice Xana, Ethan, Kaylee, and Maddie deserve. Xana was everyone's best friend. She was kind, she was funny. She was a gift to each person she was able to make an impact on. Xana was someone I turned to when I needed direction or advice. Although I am her older sister, I often found myself looking up to her. She had a radiant energy that everyone loved, and she always knew the right way to approach a problem. She knew how precious and special life was, and she truly did live every day to the fullest. Yet her story was cut short by an act of evil. I believe in a God whose justice is not bound by this courtroom. I find peace knowing that judgment ultimately belongs to Him. For your sake, I hope one day you feel the full weight of what you did. I hope you take accountability. I hope you truly experience the guilt and you surrender yourself to Jesus Christ. Because no punishment on this earth can ever compare to the isolation and pain of eternal separation from God. Xana deserved more,
They all did. But I come here to say this. I am strong. I am brave. I'm a fighter, just like Xana. And you don't get to control how I move forward or what I believe. I walk with the comfort of knowing I will see my sister again. Xana didn't get the future she deserved. She won't be the maid of honor at my wedding, the cool aunt to my future children. I'll never hear her laugh or see her light up a room ever again. But I will carry her with me for the rest of my life. I will live in her honor, fight to be the best kind of woman and someone she's proud of, to make sure the world never forgets who she was. Xana's story doesn't end with what was taken from her. It lives through the love she gave, the people she touched, and the legacy our family will protect. Her light still shines, and her voice will echo louder than this pain. You didn't take that from us, and you never will.
Thank you.
I just want to say before I start, I'm Xana's dad, Jeff Kernodle. It's been a hard road down, because she's gone. And I want to thank everybody, other their families that's speaking so far, spoke about things. I agree with everything they have to say. It all comes back to a lot of the same things that I've had to deal with and we as a family have had to deal with. And that brings me, basis of what I'm talking about a little bit is on my way up here, flying up here in the plane, and about halfway through the flight, this little girl is calling out for her dad. Hey, dad, and then in my mind, I was kind of half asleep. It's dark on the plane. I heard Xana calling out for me like she did, back when she was little, 5 years old, and those times were hard. It was chaotic, but we always had something to work toward that was in a positive direction, compared to right now, which is necessarily not as positive as that for sure. And I know I miss Xana a lot. My life's been changed, and Xana had a great impact on me, and the impact was when she was gone. I realized how important she was, and what she really did for me, influenced me, was way beyond what I ever thought. She'd call me up on the weekends, check on me, see who's with me. She's like accountability to your youngest daughter. And that really made a big difference. It made me really think about things and what it's all about, That's the things that I miss the most, is those calls on the weekends, the calls at 11 at night. What's going on? You want to meet my friend? Whoever she's with, a couple of her friends, I can meet them, talk to them. And she always did that. And it's pretty cool. Pretty cool. I really miss that. And she made a big impact on me, on other people, her family. But the impact that she made is so extensive on what happened here. And it goes so far. People from everywhere in the world, are following things, and Xana has made a difference in their lives. So, countless people told me that. They might not even know her. They never knew anything about her. It's what they see, and they just love her and say how they wish she could have been their friend. Could have been their friend, could have hung out, and it's like, this is a blessing, this is what the little kid was, and definitely was a big blessing in my life, and so is Jasmine, and basically, we worked hard to do the things we did, through the times they were growing up. And
through those times, I realized that I wanted both of them to graduate college, and that'd be the ultimate thing for them to do to prepare for the world. Then it came back to me, Xana didn't get to finish college. He had it all figured out. And this all just came back to me when I was there and that little girl was on the plane doing that. It's like where I was going, what I was going here for. And then I just realized and thought to myself about the wonderful life that she had and we had together. And I still get to have with Jasmine, but that's the part that really counted. It's the part that really counted is those memories. And those are what I have left, the memories with her and the ones I can make with her and the life that I can go on with now, which is what she wants. And I say that in present tense because that's what she wants, because I've been told that, I've been countless ways that she's out there and has a way to communicate, which I'm very grateful for. That goes to say that the impact of what happened to them, all 4 kids, goes so much further than just not me, the parents, the families, the community. It goes so far because a lot of kids, in the colleges, just for an example, they lock their doors now. The door wasn't locked in the back. Penn State or wherever it was, all the colleges I know that I've heard, they all lock their doors now. So maybe the impact that it's gonna make is gonna help out and maybe protect some people. Having this outreach and having the influence of what happened to these kids did, All I know is I was 7 miles away when it happened, and she wasn't feeling that good. It was 11:30, and I almost went over to Susanna's to say, and I would have been sitting right there in that couch, and you had to deal with me. So they would have had a chance, and I regret that, and I regret not going. But the reason why I didn't is because Susanna said, "Don't be drinking and driving. You got the rental car. Don't be drinking and driving." The week before that, so she was she would have been mad at me to do that. But I really wish I would have drunk and drove, because they would have had a chance, all 4 of them. At this point,
All right, Dean, shh.
I just have to go on. We're gonna go on with everything
Dean,
and make things better
Oh.
in my life, because that's what it's all about. If I have closure in things,
Dean, we have to.
and the part that we miss is Santa, her influence, her smile, the things that she did. And we have the memories left, the great memories. And she just wants us to make more memories and not be sad or upset or shocked or taken for that, And that's what we're going to do. We just have to. That's all I got.
Thank you for your words and your courage, and bless your family.
Next, Kim Coronado would like to address the court.
Thank you, Your Honor. My name is Kim Coronado. I am Xana's aunt. I was very blessed to have her in my life, in our family. And I thought I had everything in my head, what I wanted to say, but it kind of went out. And I'm always looking for the positive thing, because evil, hate can destroy people. And that's what it started doing with our family. It created anger with our family members. And then I had to look, because Xana was everything that the media, her friends said. She was that fun, loving, high-spirited, beautiful person. And I no longer get to get my nails done with her, have lunch with her. Sorry. But how I look at it now is this tragedy, this horrible tragedy on all of the 4 children, has brought us closer. You united us with your actions. We're united now, and we're stronger than ever. We have family and friends now that we never knew we had. And, you know, this is probably going to bother everybody, but Bryan, I'm here today to tell you I have forgiven you, because I no longer could live with that hate in my heart. And for me to become a better person, I have forgiven you. And anytime you want to talk and tell me what happened, get my number. I'm here, no judgment, because I do have answers or questions that I want you to answer. And I'm here. I'll be that one that'll listen to you. Okay? Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you very much.
My name is Stratton Knodel, and I'm Xana's uncle, Jeff's brother. Sitting here today listening to all the stories and feelings and feeling the pain from everybody is a pretty powerful thing. It's each time a statement was read, it sort of would tug into my center core as I felt everybody's anguish. And Xana meant a lot to us, and we loved her very much. But I started thinking about, instead of rehashing everything that everybody else has talked about, I wanted to direct it another direction toward Bryan and what he's done to his family, his parents, his siblings, his friends, his universe. He has contaminated, tainted their family name, and pretty much made a horrible, miserable thing to be ever related to him. And I know that that's what he has to live with, and that has to be his pain. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Next, Your Honor, I believe Randy Davis, stepfather to Xana Kernodle, would like to address the court.
Hi, my name's Randy, stepdad of Xana. I just feel the same way we all do. All of us are united because of something that happened, and I am grateful to know and have met some new family because of this awful event. But this is probably the last time we're all going to be in the same room together, let's be real. So I can say, I love you all, and I feel your pain. And just God bless us all, you know? Just get through it. I had stuff wrote up. It was probably best I didn't read it out. Probably get kicked out of here, so. You know, I'll share one thing to you guys, not to you, with Xana. So I was working in North Dakota and came home, and Jazzy and Xana had taken our son Elijah and put him in a dress, makeup, and it was awful, you know. I was like, I don't know. She was funny. I told her she'd be a in the movies and be somebody great one day like that. And now she is just above us as an angel with all the other beautiful kids. So let's hold that to our hearts, because this evil thing is not going to take nothing from us. You, man, I don't know what my limits are here, but I'm really struggling, dude. I am struggling, because I want to just be out in the woods with you, just so I can teach you about loss and pain. I love God. I wouldn't take your life. That's up to him. But I guarantee you, you are weak. God, I would just give a moment, man, 5 minutes out in the woods. Oh, man. You're going to go to hell. I know people believe in other stuff. You're evil. There's no place for you in heaven. You took our children. You are going to suffer, man.
He already is.
I'm shaking because I want to reach out to you, but I hope you feel my energy, okay? Go to hell.
Next is Kara Northington, Xana's mother.
I'm Kara Northington. I am Xana Kernodle's mother. This letter is to you, really, but it's for my daughter, who was murdered by you. Today I stand before you, the man who is responsible for murdering my beautiful daughter, Xana Kernodle. My daughter was beautiful both inside and out. She possessed love for those around her and had a light so bright it will live on forever in our hearts. She brought joy and laughter to her friends, her family, and anyone in her presence. Our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, now has her in his loving arms in heaven, where she can never be harmed ever again, for eternity. Because of her, I came to know my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Because of her, many will come to Christ. It is Christ who lives in me that has given me the strength to forgive you. It was of no power of my own. In return, the Lord has filled me with joy, hope, and peace that surpasses all understanding. Jesus has allowed me to forgive you for murdering my daughter without you even being sorry or asking for this. This is only possible because he who lives in me is greater than any evil in this world. For God hath not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. I do not fear you or even let you rent space in my head anymore. This forgiveness has released me from any and all evil you have inflicted on me and my family. It has allowed me to let our Lord deal with you. You have accepted a deal that will prevent you from receiving the death penalty. Nothing man can do to you can ever compare to the wrath of God. Inevitably, you will stand before our Lord and will have to answer to him over the sins you have committed in murdering our children. I pray you come to the end of yourself before that day. Whether you like it or not, heaven is for real and so is hell. The innocent life of Xana that you stole from myself and my family, and the destruction it has caused I am washing my hands of you and turning you over to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, whom vengeance belongs to. In closing, I want to read a passage from the Bible, Ephesians 6, King James Version. Finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and then in the power of his might. Put on the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to withstand the wiles of the devil. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Wherefore, take unto you the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to withstand in the evil day, that ye may be able to stand in the evil day. I'm not going to share memories of Xana or any more of the goodness of her with you, because I do not want that to be in your head. I don't want it to be in your head. You don't deserve that. You don't deserve our good memories that we have. I do pray for you. I pray that you come to the end of yourself. I pray that before this life is over, that you ask our Lord and Savior in your heart and to forgive you. I do pray for that. But after today, I wash my hands of you, and you are no longer a thing. Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't believe the state has any other victim impact statements.
Okay.
Oh, no cheapens. Okay.
Right, state can argue.
Thank you, Your Honor. Just as a housekeeping matter to start, there will be the issue of restitution. That is, the documentation is being gathered, and we ask if the court would defer that for 30 days so we can present it in an orderly fashion and make sure it's comprehensive for everyone.
Any objection to leaving restitution open in 60 days? All right.
Thank you, Your Honor. I think it's necessary and appropriate to share for everyone here, including the court, the background that brings us in front of Your Honor today for these proceedings. As the record reflects, and as everybody in this courtroom knows, the defendant has pleaded guilty to all 5 counts charged in the indictment. Under oath before Your Honor, he has admitted that the charges against him are true. He has reassured the court that he has not been coerced or threatened to make those admissions. And Your Honor did an extraordinary job in taking the pleas back on July 2nd. We appreciate the court's discipline and insight. The defendant has also waived appeal on the multitude of rulings from this court and Your Honor's predecessor in Latah County on dozens, literally dozens of motions seeking to dismiss the case, seeking to control or limit evidence, seeking to offer evidence that would not be appropriate. And we appreciate the court's consistent rulings based on the law, based on the facts. As Your Honor will recall, on June 18th, it's just really not that long ago, we appeared before this court for arguments on what became the defendant's final motions to this court. Motion where they wanted to offer evidence suggesting that other people were responsible for the defendant's actions, and the motion seeking essentially an indefinite continuance of the trial. It was readily apparent to all of us in the courtroom from Your Honor's comments that those motions were not going to be granted. So we returned to Moscow and continued with what we had been working on for months in preparation for trial. We had no qualms about going to trial if trial was what was necessary and appropriate. The following week after we were in court, we were approached by the defense with an inquiry about a possible plea. And I can tell the court this is the first suggestion ever that there was any consideration, because indeed, the defense had maintained from the beginning that Mr. Kohberger, the defendant, was factually innocent. It's clear that the reality of the evidence and the case that had been investigated and prepared and that we were ready to present in court became a reality. Our reaction, among other things, was to reach out to all the families. And in fact, later that week, on Thursday and Friday of that last week of June, we met with representatives by teams, virtual meetings, with representatives of all the families. And we talked about the status of the case and the upcoming trial and things that related to the trial. And we also let them know that there had been an inquiry about whether there might be an offer for a plea. And we asked the family members for their thoughts and feelings. And they were candid. And they have been candid since, and we respect that. And we understand, recognize, and acknowledge that there was a difference of opinion among representatives of the different families. We understand that. One of the challenges of this case, one of the unique things about this case is we have multiple victims, each unique unto themselves, their families and friends unique unto themselves, and all of them entitled to their opinions, all of them entitled to their thoughts. Over the following weekend, our prosecution team, very skilled attorneys who were personally as well as professionally deeply invested in this case, met. And we talked, and the decision was reached. Well, to start with, were there to be any sort of plea offer or discussion, there's only one possibility. And that would be for the defendant to plead guilty straight up to all charges. There would be no bargaining about counts. There would be no bargaining about reduced sentences. And so we made the proposal to the defense that if the defendant was willing to plead guilty up front to all 5 counts as charged and waive appeal of the court's myriad decisions during the past 2.5+ years on all these motions that would have consumed years, if not decades, of time in the future. By the end of the weekend, we were notified the defendant was prepared to plead guilty as charged and factually acknowledge his responsibility in court for these horrible crimes. Obviously, those discussions and negotiations were confidential. And as Your Honor noted, I believe, that was necessarily so, because if the defendant had decided not to plead guilty, it would have been devastating to our jury pool for there to be public information that there had been consideration by either party to a plea resolution. And protecting the prospective integrity of the trial after so many years was paramount. So, the end of the weekend came. We notified the victims' families of what had occurred. I recognize and acknowledge personally, and I respect the fact that of these fine, suffering people here, not everybody agreed with the decision we make. I accept that. It's my responsibility in the end. I recognize that that's the duty of the office that I hold. So now, it is time for the judicial system to impose final judgment and close the door on this chapter of these tragedies. As the court is aware, by the agreement of the parties, it is the state's prayer. Perhaps have the Elmo police turned on. Thank you. That on count one, the felony burglary, that the court sentenced the defendant to the maximum period of 10 years fixed in the custody of the Idaho Department of Correction. Then on count two, that the court sentenced the defendant to fixed life for the murder of Maddie Mogen. On count three, that the court sentenced the defendant to fixed life for the murder of Kaylee Gonzalez. On count four, that the court sentenced the defendant to fixed life for the murder of Xana Kernhodel. On count five, that the court sentenced the defendant to fixed life for the murder of Ethan Chapin. And the state further prays that these sentences be ordered to run consecutively, back to back, not at the same time, to recognize and respect the unique individuality of each of these beautiful young people whose lives were taken brutally and for no reason. And hopefully now, as we have heard earlier this morning, it is time to afford the families and the friends and the community and the state of Idaho and the nation and the world to move forward. We can't undo, and we can never undo, the horror of what occurred on the early morning hours of November 13th, 2022 at 1122 King Street in Moscow, Idaho. For a long time, the presiding district judge in Latah County was John Stegner, who eventually became a member and a justice of the Idaho Supreme Court. And Justice Stegner often observed that even God cannot change the past. But everyone in this room has the ability to take themselves forward. And we want the judicial system to afford them the opportunity today to do that. From today forward, our memories should be focused on these innocent victims whose lives were taken, on their families, on their friends, on the community.
No, baby.
The court has heard discussion, talk today, reminiscences today about
a special family that our victims shared, not just their natural, legal, and biological families, not just their university family within their sororities, for example. But this family. This is the picture taken on November 12th, 2022, of the special family of 1122 King Road. And you can see all 6 of these dynamic, vibrant, loving, special, innocent faces taken together just across the street from their residence, and barely 12 hours before 4 of them would be brutally murdered in their sleep. They've been described consistently as being bright, caring, vivacious, with futures we can only imagine now. But they were, and they remain, a special family that I think we should all recognize and appreciate. So it's time to move forward. There have been a number of statements directed specifically at the defendant today. I have one last thought. After Your Honor imposes judgment and sentences the defendant to spend the rest of his life in prison, in other words, sentence the defendant to die in prison, he's going to stand up in the belly chains and leg irons that he's wearing today, and he's going to be escorted into the custody of the Idaho Department of Correction. And the door will close behind him forever. That is the closure that we seek, that all of these people, these loving friends and family deserve, so that we can move forward. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. All right, does the defense have evidence to present today? All right. Does defense wish to make argument today?
Runner, we do not wish to make arguments. Mr. Kohberger, along with his legal team, is prepared for the court to enter judgment.
All right, Mr. Kohberger, you have an opportunity to make a statement if you wish to. I take it you are declining.
I respectfully decline.
Well, please. All right, let me start this morning by acknowledging and thanking those that have come here today in support of their loved ones, and I appreciate your courage and your strength. And I hope that you are able to move on as best as possible. Thank counsel for the professionalism that they've exhibited throughout this case. It has been my great honor to preside in this case and to help bring, to the extent possible, some resolution and hopefully justice to this case. During the quiet morning hours of November 13, 2022, a faceless coward breached the tranquility of 6 beautiful young people and senselessly slaughtered them, 4 of them. Who committed this unspeakable evil was unknown for several weeks, but due to the killer's incompetence and outstanding police work by numerous local, state, and federal law enforcement agencies, the person that slithered through that sliding glass door at 1122 King Road now stands before the world and this court unmasked.
Unmasked.
This unfathomable and senseless act of evil has caused immeasurable pain and loss. No parent should ever have to bury their child. This is the greatest tragedy that can be inflicted upon a person. Parents who took their children to college in a truck filled with moving boxes had to bring them home in hearses lined with coffins. The loss this killer inflicted was not just the death of these people's children, siblings, grandchildren, as we've heard today. It has ripped a hole in their soul, destroying a special part of their very essence. Any person who is a parent defines themselves foremost as such. It is their existence and purpose of being. And it has been stolen from these parents. None of us have experienced the loss these victims have in the unspeakable way that they have. And therefore, none of us can, nor should we, question the way in which they have handled their loss. Whether that be in private mourning, removed as far as possible from this media circus, or in front of a camera demanding retribution with the loudest megaphone. I've listened intently to the stories and pain that have been shared today, with great awe at the courage and resilience of the surviving family members of those wonderful children. I've listened also to the surviving roommates, both in person and through their friends.
No.
And I can't think of how, frankly, courageous they have been despite the hell that they have faced by uncaring people who have come up with all kinds of crazy theories about 2 kids simply being kids. The parents, siblings, and other family members who have spoken today are designated as victims in our legal system. But going forward, I hope that they can shed that label, as it gives too much power to the evil that condemned them to that role. They are and should be known as survivors, fighters, and foremost as witnesses to the tremendous lives of value and unbounded promise of these 4 young people. But those speaking today and those who did not speak, but who carry the same burden, this same loss, now carry forward the memories of these now perpetually young people, these forever children. These survivors carry the responsibility of ensuring that the voices of these children, Maddie, Kaylee, Xana, and Ethan, are never forgotten, and the positive impacts that they have had on so many lives are never minimized, and that the love they shared, the light that they shined onto others, is forever celebrated. As we sit here today, this case is ending, and we are now certain who committed these unspeakable acts of evil, but we don't know, and what we may never know is why. I share the desire expressed by others to understand the why. But upon reflection, it seems to me, and this is just my own opinion, that by continuing to focus on why, we continue to give Mr. Kohberger relevance. We give him agency and we give him power. The need to know what is inherently not understandable makes us dependent upon the defendant to provide us with a reason, and that gives him the spotlight, the attention, and the power he appears to crave. Yet even if I could force him to speak, which legally I cannot, how could anyone ever be assured that what he speaks is the truth? Do we really believe, after all of this, he's capable of speaking the truth or of giving up something of himself to help the very people whose lives he destroyed? Rather, I suspect the so-called reason would be dished out in enticing, self-serving, and aggrandizing, untruthful bits, leaving people wanting more information, more insight, and thus enhancing even further the power he seeks to hold. Even if we could get truthful insight into his why, I suspect it would not in any way quench one's thirst for actually understanding why in the first instance. Because there is no reason for these crimes that could approach anything resembling rationality.
Right.
No conceivable reason could make any sense. And in the end, the more we struggle to seek explanation for the unexplainable, the more we try to extract a reason, the more power and control we give to him. In my view, the time has now come to end Mr. Kohberger's 15 minutes of fame. It's time that he be consigned to the ignominy and isolation of perpetual incarceration. I know there has been concern about him collaborating on books or movies or other media projects, and I truly hope that someone does not stoop to affording him this spotlight that he desires in the name of clicks, royalties, or profits. While criminal behavioralists should study him away from the spotlight in an attempt to prevent other would-be killers from acting on their worst impulses, there should be no need for that to spill over into the public eye. The great Idaho jurist Edward Lodge was known for trying to find something positive about every person he ever sentenced. And with over a half a century as a trial judge, that was a lot of people. This was often challenging, and I recall in one case he said that the best he could come up with was the defendant had good penmanship. Truth be told, I'm unable to come up with anything redeeming about Mr. Kohberger because his grotesque acts of evil have buried and hidden anything that might have been good or intrinsically human about him. His actions have made him the worst of the worst. Even in pleading guilty, he is giving nothing hinting of remorse or redemption, nothing suggesting even a recognition or understanding, let alone regret for the pain that he has caused. And therefore, I will not attempt to speak about him further, other than to simply sentence him so that he is forever removed from civilized society. And accordingly, based upon his conduct and based upon the record before this court, recognizing the standards that govern this court's sentencing decisions as set forth in State v. Toohill, I hereby sentence Mr. Kohberger as follows. On count 1, burglary, 10 years fixed, 0 years indeterminate. I also impose a fine of $50,000. Count 2, first-degree murder of Madison Mogen. I sentence the defendant to a fixed term of life imprisonment without the possibility of parole, a fine of $50,000, and a civil penalty of $5,000 payable to the family of the victim. On count 3, for first-degree murder of Kaylee Gonzalez, I sentence the defendant to a fixed term of life imprisonment without the possibility of parole, a fine of $50,000, and a civil penalty of $5,000 payable to the victim of the family, or to the family of the victim, pardon me. On count 4, for the first-degree murder of Xana Kernodle, I sentence the defendant to a fixed term of life imprisonment without the possibility of parole, a fine of $50,000, and a civil penalty of $5,000 payable to the family of the victim. On count 5, for the first-degree murder of Ethan Chapin, I sentence the defendant to a fixed term of life imprisonment without the possibility of parole, a fine of $50,000, and a civil penalty of $5,000 payable to the family of the victim. The sentences on counts 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 shall run consecutively to one another. Restitution will be left open for 60 days. Defendant will be required to submit a DNA sample and a right thumbprint impression to the Department of Corrections and comply with the DNA Database Act. I remand the defendant to the custody of the Idaho State Board of Corrections for to be imprisoned in an appropriate facility in execution of the sentence where he will remain until he dies. Though you have waived your right to appeal, you do have a right to file a notice of appeal, and any such appeal must be filed within 42 days of the date of the written judgment, which will be entered shortly hereafter. Though the appeal, you should be aware, may be deemed a violation of the plea agreement, and so I certainly suggest you discuss that with counsel if that is your desire. I ask the media and public present to allow the families to be escorted out first before they leave. Again, thank you to everyone for your stories today. I am strengthened by them, and I am encouraged by your humanity and strength, and God bless you. We're adjourned.
Wow. Oop. Let me turn this off. Wow. My dream didn't come true. I guess they don't want to give him that moment. And I understand that. I just want to make it clear that I want to help David explain why, because so many people want to know why. I know everybody, the judge included, just doesn't want to have any focus on him, doesn't want any focus put on him. But I would really like to know why, his version of why. And I would like to elaborate on that, and because I think his version might not make as much sense until I translate it and maybe fill in the gaps for everybody. And yeah, I certainly need money, but that's not my motivation. My motivation is I feel like I'm the only one who can really explain why. And maybe I'll end up writing that book, with him communicating to me telepathically. I guess that's what the judge is leaving me the option of. I don't know. I don't know what the future brings. I saw a lot of reference to what I've spoken about and written about. The judge kind of indirectly referenced, things, and of course the Gonsalves family, especially Olivia, in particular, Olivia referenced the things I've spoken about publicly. I don't know what's next. We shall find out. Let's bring up the news and see what's going on. I'm gonna look up. I want to see what's going on, what people are talking about. Here we go. Here's AP. Let's see, which one shall we watch live? Reuters. What do we want? Which one? AP Live. Let's try AP Live. Let's see what they have to say. Commercial.
How I want it. I like to add.
Here it is. Here's the county front house. Can you see it? I guess you can, right? I guess they're waiting for
statements from the attorneys. Yes, like I'm just looking around to see if there's anything exciting that people are talking about or what's happening. It's live, unmasked, 2-9. Reuters live. Let's see if Reuters has anything to say. I wonder which one it is. Am I going to the same one? Not sure. Share this one. Same thing. That's Reuters. And it's a little different. There's nothing going on though. Well, I guess it's a good time. Well, let me this. You know, I just have to take a moment. Hold on. I have to use the restroom. Let me put this screen.
We got to clear.
Down front.
As a prelude, it's been a long and emotional morning, so please show some grace to the families as they answer your questions. Thanks so much.
Well, it's almost been 3 years, and today's the end of a long, hard-fought battle. But we have our person, and we have him where he belongs. So for that, we are thankful for all the men and women that put the work together, put this case together, and once it's part of the court system, it was a little ugly, but we got that conviction, and we're glad to be moving on. Glad we can move on.
The family or the judge talked about how we may never know a lie, and it may not be worth it to try to answer the lie with something so sensitive. It makes sense then. What do you feel about that?
There's some truth to that, but then, there's also the fact that, what would he tell as a lie as to opposed to the truth, so.
The knife, if he gave the knife up, or if he gave a part of his kill kit, if he gave out facts that only the killer would know,
It would corroborate things.
it would corroborate things. And he even addressed there's been way too many conspiracies, and the surviving witnesses had to go through hell. Well, no better way to protect them than by getting some of those details. If you got those details, then, as simple as just saying I did it solo would have been, valuable, I think. And we stand by the negotiation wasn't justice. It was just a shortcut, and we said from the very beginning we're not interested in a shortcut for our daughter. We wanted everything.
Stevie, you turned the podium at one point. Talk to us about why you wanted to stare at him.
Because he's a coward. He's been protected by the court from day one, the minute that he was arrested. So I wanted to let him know that I was directing everything towards him, and his days of being protected are coming to an end. From what I've been explained, he gets on a van today, and he's got like 11, 12-minute ride, and then he'll be the responsibility of Idaho State.
Were you planning on turning the podium, though, or did you do that?
I remember reading it saying, "Do not move." So I was like, "Well, I'm moving this." I just kind of made that decision right then and there. So,
I want to make it as difficult as possible. I knew my daughter was going to do a speech, and I'd heard it, and I was like, he's going to hate this. He's going to hate this next set of people that are going to come forward and really rip into him and really expose him for what kind of a piece of trash he was. And we've been waiting a long time to say some of those things that needed to be said.
Stephen Jr., you chose not to speak now. Is there anything you can say?
I'd written up a statement. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe this is where you go.
Okay. Well, allow me a second.
Maybe it wasn't court appropriate.
Yeah, it wasn't. It definitely wasn't. Yeah, my name's Steve Gonzalez. I'm Kaylee's older brother. She was my little sister, my friend, the middle child in the heart of our family. There are no words that can fully describe her spirit, but if you knew her, you knew joy, you knew light, you knew someone who made everything better just by being in the room. My statement was largely grounded in one goal, and that was to do everything for anyone who listens to this and has to go through something similar to not have to endure what we had. My family's fought tirelessly, not just for answers, but for accountability. We've stood in front of cameras, behind closed doors, and across from people who didn't want us to speak, but we did, and we won't stop now. Across nearly every murder case prosecuted by Bill Thompson, including the killing of University of Idaho football player Eric McMillan, there is a clear and troubling pattern. Families are left feeling unheard, justice is negotiated down through plea deals, and the public is left with unanswered questions. In the McMillan case, charges were reduced from first-degree to second-degree murder, prompting confusion and outrage from the victim's family and community. The same pattern is emerged in the Silas Parks and John Lee cases, both of which prosecuted by Bill Thompson, where capital-eligible crimes were resolved through plea agreements, sidestepping trials and diminishing public accountability. The most egregious of these crimes was the brutal killing of Whitney Parks, a young pregnant woman whose life was taken by her husband Silas Parks during a violent domestic assault. Whitney was only 22 years old. Whitney was beaten and strangled in her own home, an act of cruelty that not only ended her life, but also the life of her unborn child. And yet, despite the devastating nature of this crime, Bill Thompson reduced the charges from murder to voluntary manslaughter, ultimately securing a sentence that allowed Parks the possibility of parole after just 5 years. There was no trial, no full accounting of what Whitney endured, no acknowledgement in the legal outcomes of the child she was carrying. For Whitney's family and for anyone who believes that justice systems should speak forcefully for victims, this wasn't justice. It was a deal, and it was like so many others under Thompson's watch. It prioritized expedience over accountability. Now, almost predictably, we find ourselves reliving that pattern in the current case. Despite the magnitude and brutality of the crime, the prosecution chose to accept a plea deal behind closed doors, without trial, without ever consulting our family in any meaningful way. In fact, we learned from the plea deal that had been finalized from an email from the prosecution team. Not in person, not with warning, not with respect. That moment underscored what we feared all along, and that this case was following the same well-worn path toward expedience over justice. Sentencing once again fails to reflect the severity of the act, and the emotional fallout has landed again on the shoulders of the victims' families, who have been left out, unheard, and grieving not just a horrific loss, but a system that continues to bypass them. The through line is undeniable. Whether it's 2004 or 2025, this prosecutional, is that a word? Sorry. Prosecutional approach has consistently abandoned the very approach it is, or the very people it is supposed to protect. The trend you'll notice from Thompson's prosecuted triumph are the following: plea bargains avoiding capital punishment, charge reductions, sentences that misalign with the gravity of the crime, lack of trial due to plea bargains. These aren't just failures in process, they're failures that have real consequences for real people. After reviewing Bill Thompson's history, it's clear our family was never given a fair chance at justice, but this isn't just about a prosecutor's record, it's about Kaylee. It's about my sister. She's not just one of the Idaho 4. She was a daughter, a sister, a best friend, and the light in every room she walked into. When the prosecution followed the same path we've seen before, closed doors, limited input, in a plea deal handed down without our voice, it became painfully clear that Kaylee was being treated just like another case. But she wasn't. She was everything to us, and our pain has only deepened, knowing that the system didn't fight for her the way she deserved. I'll leave everyone with this. There's 1,000 things I wish I could say to Kaylee, but today I'll just say this. I will always carry her with me for the rest of my life, and I will never stop being her brother. Thank you.
Now that the gag order is lifted, is there anything that you've learned over the last 2.5 years from the investigators or the prosecutors that you can share with us now that you can speak about?
Well, I think it was kind of interesting that once the president sent a truth statement out, they called us right up and they told us everything. So I don't know what was holding them back before, but we spent about 3 hours, close to 3 hours with the lead detectives, and yeah, we found because our main thing was we didn't want to have victims advocate statements that had lies and misquotes and misinformation in it. So I appreciate the president, putting a little bit of pressure on there, and it seemed to work. Up until that time, they told us they were not going to tell us, and we were going to have to just wait for for the things to be unsealed. But yeah, it was horrific what Kaylee went through. Yeah, and I don't want to protect this guy, but I won't give out all the details. I'll be general. But yeah, she was stabbed over 30 plus times, and she was struck, and there was quite a bit of damage to her face. So this guy's just an absolute monster. Anyone who thinks that he's otherwise, I just looked at pure demons out there. When I was looking at him, we had a stare down, and he's just filled with demons. He's dark pits of eyes, and there's something seriously wrong with that man.
Steve, why was it important for you to look him directly in the eyes? And what did you see as you spoke to him?
I looked him straight in the eyes, and I just seen black holes and just anger at me. He was telling me with his face that he fucking hated me. He absolutely fucking hated me.
And why did you want to speak to him directly that way?
It's the most personal one. Like,
Yeah,
look at me in my eye. You took my daughter's life. Look at me.
Yeah,
Did your family get something today that it needed, or was this?
Yeah, 100%.
I think it's a little early to actually even answer that for myself. I think that kind of stuff needs to set in and sink in, and you regret maybe saying some things, or you wish that you would have said things. So I think right now we're just kind of in the mix of the tornado, and the real feelings.
As the spotlight then fades, what do you want the public to remember?
Our main thing is hopefully this could be a template for another family that, you can use the media as much as they're using you. You can use it to keep people accountable, keep people honest, keep the court system, treating you with a little bit of respect. And I think that's what we did. And the more that you get active, I think the more chance that you're going to get that justice in the end. I think you really got to try to make your kids stand out, or whoever you're trying to protect, you make them real. Get on the internet and talk to people.
Before you go, and I know you want to go, I want to ask, Olivia today was spectacular, but Olivia asked the question, what was the ultimate weapon you used on my sister? Despite this meeting you had with the prosecutors, there still sounds like there's something built in there. Can you explain that to us?
No, we do know that another weapon was used on Kaylee. So we don't know what that weapon was, but
They didn't recover it.
along with the knife wasn't recovered, but Kaylee was not just stabbed. There was other things that happened to Kaylee.
Talk about that a little. The conversation we had with the prosecution was about healing more than anything. It was about giving the victims' families answers. And they may share some of that information at a later date, but today is not the day for that. Today is about the sentencing. It's about putting the defendant in prison for the rest of his life. So there may be more details to come about that, but that conversation that they had was about the healing process and finding some answers that they had. And so we may share at a later date, but today is not the day. Okay?
Thank you guys for being
Thanks.
Hmm.
Good afternoon. My name is Leander James. I am the pro bono attorney for Karen Laramie and Scott Laramie, the loving mother and stepfather of Madison Mogan. I ask that you please give your quiet attention to Scott. He would like to make a statement to you and to all those out there in support of them and the other families. Thank you.
Karen and I just left the sentencing where we gave our victim impact statement. Judge Hipler sentenced the defendant to the maximum allowable sentence under the plea agreement. The sentence will ensure that this evil will never again terrorize a family as he did ours and 3 others. The trial would have involved risks. Had the defendant been convicted, he may not have been given the death penalty. Had he been convicted of the death penalty, we would have had to endure years, maybe even decades of appeals. This way, his fate is sealed. Society is protected, and we can move on with our lives and attempt to recover. Maddie was our purpose and our hope. We remain lost without her, but we will find our way. Thank you. Get up. Thank you.
Well, I don't know. I guess there's some more people coming out to speak. I don't know. It's kind of, you can see the reflection of these two little areas out here. I don't know. Oh, those are little, oh, I see. It's part of the building. It's those kind of doors that you go around in when you exit. I don't know who they're waiting for. I guess that was all the families, right? The Chapins didn't even make an appearance. That's right. I remember them saying they wouldn't. Yeah, so I don't know who we're waiting for. I guess there's some other people who might want to make comments. I'm glad that we've gotten to this point and it's over, so we can move on with our lives. I just wonder what's ahead, and I wonder when it happens. Yeah, it doesn't look like there's much going on. I might let me just look and see if there's anything going on YouTube that I can include in case to, you know, if there's something that I need to add. Yeah, I think we're at the end here because I don't see anything really going on now. Oh, what's going on here? Let's see. I didn't realize there was something going on. Let's unmute it. What's going on? I mean, they're all camped out there. They're not going anywhere. They're not budging. Apparently, the attorneys are come out. I mean, maybe the defense. About that, the defense hasn't said anything yet, have they? I don't think they want to. They have nothing to say. Everybody's all waiting. Yeah. Let me mute it now. I'll unmute it if anything exciting new happens. So I was able to get a little bite to eat while I hadn't eaten anything. I just stayed up too late and I slept in too long and I'm a little tired today. Not too bad now. And I didn't have a chance to eat anything before we went live. So Dean, I'm usually the one that does all the cooking and preparing of food, but yeah, Dean brought me something, and my kitty was. You saw my kitty. She wanted to get on the table because of the food there. Yeah, we can't buy anything for a week and a half now. I get paid a week from Friday, so the food we have is the food that has to last for 1.5 weeks. That's why I was telling him that we have to conserve, and when he starts opening up things in the freezer, and I told him not to cook. I already made some rice and beans that are in the refrigerator, and he could heat those up, you know, until I could be done with the live stream. But he always does what I tell him not to. I can count on that. I should just say, oh, go ahead and cook, and then he won't, right? I should just say the opposite, so he'll disobey me and do the opposite. Yeah, so we're out of money. We don't even have money to buy food for the next. But I have a lot of cat food, so the cats are good. The dogs should be all right, and if they're not, we can always feed them anything. They'll eat what we eat. If they, that would be a delight for them. Um, yeah, I'm relieved it's over. This day is not hanging over me anymore. I still want to know what's going to happen. It hasn't happened yet, whatever's going to happen. I mean, I can't believe that, my life is just, it's not going to go back to normal. We're not going to keep doing what we've been doing. I know the FBI won't allow that. And they have it all planned. My people, the FBI, they have it all planned. They want it to be a surprise from even me. They know that I expected something at this hearing, but they didn't want to glorify David or Bryan. I'm the one they want to put attention on, not David. Okay, all right, great. When is that attention ever going to happen? I know. I mean, this is the day that we mourn. Oh, I know what I want to say. I did happen to notice that the Gonsalveses mentioned that they finally had their 3+ hours with the prosecutors and they finally told them everything. And the reason they claimed they wanted more information was because they weren't comfortable with their is it impact statement? They wouldn't be confident that it was complete and everything they wanted to say unless they knew everything. So the prosecutors told them everything. And in their impact statement, Olivia stated a lot of things that I've been talking about. I was thinking maybe they read my latest message, or maybe Olivia, with her incredible research skills, unearthed a lot of my writings. I believe the prosecutors finally told the Gonsalveses what I tried to tell them in a message in 2023 and recently, just the other day. But I've been talking about all along, and notice that the attorney said this is not the day. We'll talk about that stuff later, but this is not the day. So this is not my day, even though today marks 50 years since I've been classified. 50 years today. In 1975, when I was 9 years old, I was falsely labeled a threat to national security and made top secret, classified as top secret. And I'm now 59. That's 50 years. It's most of my life. And I've never even had the opportunity to be an adult in our society with all my rights as an adult. So that's why I say I'm still waiting to turn 18. And this is the day, right? But no, it's not the day. The attorney kind of indicated that, because this is about Bryan Kohberger and it's not about him, basically, is what he's saying. And yeah, I was really struck with how many details Olivia put into her impact statement. I have to listen to it again. She put a lot of information in there, and what she said, what was their impact statement included, was affected by what the prosecution shared with them during those 3+ hours since I guess it was since they spoke publicly after this plea deal. And so they're not talking about it today. So I do think that alludes to something more coming, and we shall see. All right, I guess there's really not a lot more that I have to say. We've been on a long time. Thank you for watching. There have been a few people on. They've trickled out. I don't see any comments. Make sure. There's no comments that I can see. Thank you for watching together with me, and maybe this will be a recording that people will return to in the future to gather information about my point of view, and in the future when they know more about me and I'm publicly known. All right. I'm speechless. I have nothing more to say, and I wait for the full truth to be revealed. Peace out.